For a spectacular fall tour, drive north from West Winfield or Richfield Springs through the Mohawk River communities of Herkimer and Little Falls to Dolgeville and Middleville. You will see more and more colors on the country roads around Newport and Poland, topping off with Old Forge in the Adirondacks. New York's tallest county is built for your autumn tour. Herkimer County, I love New York.
In Albany, the only political party that matters is the majority party.
I'm Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshaw, and I'm a member of the Assembly's majority. As a member of the Assembly, I do more for the Mohawk Valley. More funding for Utica, Rome, and Whitesboro schools than ever before. Almost $500,000 for local fire departments. $125,000 for the town of Deerfield. More funding from Albany means a stronger Mohawk Valley. Wolfspeed means good jobs. The Nexus Center means more recreation and tourism opportunities. Griffith's Business and Technology Park assures our future in high-tech economy. As a member of the Assembly, I brought your voice and your values to the state capitol and brought back expanded youth and senior program funding for our cities and towns and $1 million to assist our youth in crisis at the House of Good Shepherd. Given the chance, I'll do more. That's why the Friends of Mary Ann Buttonshaw paid for this message.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen?
Keeler's always in the know.
It makes me want to call him
And tell him where to go.
And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, an interesting weekend in activity, sports activity. And we'll talk about that. Davey, what happened to your Yankees? Holy cow. The Yankees go down in 4 straight games.
Yeah, no offense. Totally disgusted today.
Utica College, Utica University lost their first game over the weekend. They lost to Cortland. That was a big game. And then in Syracuse, a game they probably should have won, but you're playing in Clemson. And there were a couple of rough calls. That's not why they lost. But did you see the game?
Just actually, I turned it on when they were up 21-16, and within 2 plays, Clemson took the lead.
Yeah. Well, you kind of had that feeling that was going to happen. But for those who were the big bettors out there, you know, probably getting somebody from Philadelphia to bet for you, because you can't do that in New York. But Syracuse did cover.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was a 14-point spread.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Anyway, Syracuse with its first loss. They'll play Saturday at the Dome at 12 noon is the starting time for that game against Notre Dame.
And they only fell down 3 spots in the coaches poll. They're 16 in both.
Yeah.
Well, they were 14, weren't they?
They were 13 in one, 14 in another.
Okay, there is a missing. Christine has a story this morning on a missing person the state police are looking for in Richfield, a kayaker at Canandaigua Lake in Richfield Springs, Christine.
Yes, and he was last seen putting a kayak together, is how they worded it, on Saturday afternoon. So hoping that those efforts are rescue efforts and not recovery efforts this morning, but they are resuming their search this morning.
That's for those that know, that's the lake that goes through as you're going through to Cooperstown on the left-hand side on Route 28 there in Richfield Springs. And it's not a large lake. It's good size, but not a large lake by any means. And for the most part, the water is pretty calm. Perfect water for kayaking. But state police are searching for that person.
And certainly the water is cold, and we don't know what happened. I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that, he could have easily hit his head or something like that. So
Well, and that's the other part. It is true that there have been some cold nights, and that will certainly cool off that water. Speaking of weather, we've got 3 days of warmer temperatures, but a chance of rain each day during all of this. There's the big change. It looked like clouds and sun all the way through, with temperatures up into the low 70s, but now it looks like rain, a little light drizzle falling out there right now. But a really nice weekend, right? Had a great weekend.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
And the temperatures will be even warmer coming up this week until Thursday when everything drops. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the San Diego Padres in Game 5 of the National League Championship Series last night. Here's a little audio on that one.
Suarez fires. Pop fly. Right field. Segura's out. Castellanos out. And the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series.
Boy, as Mets fans, as we watch this, like, Philadelphia, really?
I know.
Really?
Third in the division.
Yeah.
Third in the division. Yeah. They win the National League. They couldn't even come in second in the division.
And I won't play, Davey, just out of respect for you, I won't play the audio from the Yankees game.
No, let's play it. Come on.
All right.
And by the way, whoever was doing the game, is it Davis, the guy, the play-by-play guy for the Fox game?
It's Joe Davis and John Smoltz. But one quick point on the Phillies.
Terrible.
One quick point on the Phillies. They fired Joe Girardi halfway in the middle of the season, and then they went to Rob Thompson. So, how you feel like Joe Girardi feels watching that game?
Right. That's a good point. Here's the call from the Astros game last night.
One ball, 2 strikes. Judge on the ground. Presley's got it. Easy flip. Ball game over. And the Houston Astros win the American League pennant.
Start spreading the news.
To the World Series.
Well,
back-to-back seasons. For the 4th time in the last 6 years.
Aaron Judge is going to be a Met.
You are hearing the boos in the background. That was just frustrating, especially after that crowd, that Yankee Stadium was rocking last night. Yankees were up 3-0 in the game. And then to come back and lose the game is just horrible.
The rookie shortstop for Houston, Pena, had the big 3-run homer. He's had a great series. I think he's had a hit almost every game. But I'll tell you, it'd be great next season to see Aaron Judge in a Mets uniform and Josh Donaldson where he truly belongs as the hitting instructor of the Utica Blue Sox. I think that's where he absolutely belongs. Is he not the worst? He can't hit an 87-mile-an-hour fastball, let alone a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. It's a joke. I can't believe how much money they pay him. I couldn't tell you the last time he got a hit, but I don't even know if I could tell you the last time he made contact. He is so bad. And to have him as protection for Aaron Judge, no wonder he couldn't do anything in the playoffs.
You want to add to that, Davey?
He is right.
Okay. President Biden will be coming to Syracuse this week, and he's visiting that $100 billion Micron deal. Location in Syracuse. Of course, Biden did graduate work, I believe, at Syracuse University. So he'll be in Syracuse this week doing the Biden shuffle out there celebrating this plant that's going to bring a lot of workers if it all comes to fruition.
Yeah, it is a major it's not a drop in the bucket. They're talking about was it 50,000 jobs? That 9,000 to 10,000 would be tied directly to Micron. And then 40,000 community, quote-unquote, support jobs, jobs to support those positions related to the industry, et cetera. So, yeah, that's a major, major impact. I just hope it's sooner than later.
The Utica man who was charged with stealing a Utica Fire Department vehicle and fleeing police. You remember when this happened back in December of last year? Was sentenced on Friday in Oneida County Court. Brandon Hatton was given an intermediate sentence by Judge Michael Dwyer of 2 to 6 years in state prison after pleading guilty February 9th to felony second-degree criminal possession of stolen property. So we still do go to jail, I guess, But that's after conviction, right?
Yeah, and what was he sentenced to?
2 to 9 years.
Okay, well that's
significant, I would say. Police reported Hatton had been seen driving one of the fire department's multi-response vehicles on the 700 block of Bleecker Street by an undercover Utica police officer after it was reported stolen just before noon on Thursday, the 16th of December last year. He was arrested following a chase in the vehicle and eventually on foot, according to police at the time. Dwyer said Hatton had previously signed 2 confessions to damages and said a third one was being sought for him to sign once costs were calculated, but sentenced to 2 to 6 years in state prison.
Okay.
You're okay with that?
Well, I
think it's a significant sentence.
Yeah, it's not. I think a lot of people are afraid when we talk about bail reform that
there's
it
a
means
confusion
everybody
between
gets,
the two.
Yes.
Right.
This doesn't have anything to do with your charges or your sentence. It has to do with once you're arrested at the time the alleged crime is committed.
And a lot of people, the reason for bail reform, and they're probably needed, they're most likely most people on both sides of this issue will say that there was bail reform that was needed, but this just went too far. So what you don't want is somebody who is charged with something and then they sit in jail for 6 months before they get a trial, and then they're found to be not guilty, but they spent 6 months in jail. And that usually happens to people who don't have the money to be able to get bailed out. So that's where this whole thing came from. But we clearly went too far with it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
National Baloney Day. Today is National Baloney Day.
Oh, baloney.
No, it's true. It really is National Baloney Day today. A Florida middle school student has been accused of stealing around $13,500 in cash from her grandparents and then handing out the money to students in school.
What?
You get $1 and you get $1.
$1 at a time?
I don't know if it was that way, but Michelle Spalding is a parent of one of the kids who was offered money, speaking out about the entire situation.
She was like, yeah, Mom, the child did come up to me and asked me if I wanted $100, and she said no, it's got to be stolen. I don't want nothing to do with it. I really hope it gets recovered because that's so devastating. I feel really bad for the family for sure.
So how old?
A middle school student. So,
wow.
What are we talking about there? 12 years old? Something like that?
Stole $13,000 from grandma?
$13,500. But, the nice thing is they were being generous, right?
Right.
I mean, trying to give it out to everybody. I mean, feeling like probably a superhero during all of that.
Right.
Now, just curious, was this a situation where the alleged theft was about, like a Robin Hood type thing? Like, Grandma's got all this money.
Grandma's loaded.
You look like you could use some new sneakers. Here's $100.
I feel like you get instant popularity if you're handing out money to classmates, right? Instantly, you are the most popular person there in school if you're handing out the dough, I would say.
Right.
So maybe that's what it was.
It's more about earning friends,
buying
friends.
I don't know for sure, but it does seem that way. A Cleveland man is charged after calling a random business to pay $5,000 for someone to come in and kill his son. Apparently, he dialed the wrong number, and the person he wanted to reach was just one number off. Here is the actual phone call the father made, and Captain Gerald Vogel explaining what happened. Here's the call and the misdialed call.
Each time, my son's name is it's a $5,000 hit on it.
It sounded like somebody was trying to hire somebody to hurt another person.
I don't give a where he at or what he doing or who he with. Kill that.
He did admit that it was him on the phone, and he did try to call somebody, was trying to set up actually hurting his own son. He said it was alcohol fueled, and they had an argument, and he blamed it on alcohol problems.
Yeah, I don't know. You get drunk and you start calling up and trying to hire somebody to kill your kid. That's a little out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, you think?
$5,000, by the way, for him to just say it was.
Yeah. And only $5,000. That's the value you give to your kid. Okay. And this happened earlier this month. A flight attendant noticed that her favorite teacher was on an airplane. And the timing was perfect because it was World Teachers Day. Do you remember when that day we talked about World Teachers Day? Well, here she is making an announcement, thanking the teacher, and then visiting her in her
Today
seat.
is National Teachers Day. So we are supposed to recognize our favorite teachers we've ever had in our entire life. And I'm going to get emotional. But today I saw my teacher from 1990, Miss O'Connell, who's here on the aircraft, who is my favorite teacher ever. And I haven't seen her since 1990. This lady made me love Shakespeare, got me to play piano. I have my master's in piano and I can write an essay. Thank you, Miss O'Connell. I love you.
You made my day today. I can tell you.
You made my life. I love
There they
you.
are talking,
I love
right?
you.
And then the old lady said to her, "Can't you move me up into first class?" And she couldn't do it. So, but I still like you. I'll bring you back a cup of coffee or something.
She said she wanted to recognize her, and the teacher stood up and said, "Recognize."
Yes, that's right.
Recognize.
You know, I
honey.
always knew you had a lisp. Always knew it. And you still have it today. A new study shows that the state with the most UFO sightings is
Arizona.
California.
Really?
Interestingly.
Well,
yeah.
there's a lot of people on substances out there, I think, now.
Over 15,000 sightings over the period between now and going back to the 1970s. Experts say that might just be because it's the state with the highest population. Therefore, more people reporting on UFOs because the population is higher. Also, 82% of people claim that they have encountered a spirit or a ghost in their lifetime. Anybody want to comment on that, Christine?
I knew you were going to go to me for that.
Well,
No, I don't want to comment on that.
You do believe, though, that there's...
Absolutely.
You've had experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a little music for you. And this... There you go. That's for you, Christine.
I mean, there's all kinds of thoughts about, the quantum world now, and that what we may see as spirits are actually, beings in parallel universes, which probably makes that music sound even better.
I woke up once recently from a dream and thought I had discovered one of those, the quantum world. Is that what you call it? Where it's a parallel world. And the thought was that you could experience, this was my dream, and I thought I was like, really came up with something, that if we could just get into people's minds while they're dreaming, they could experience something. And then the belief was once they awaken, they would think they really went through that experience. So you could travel anywhere in the world as long as you could get to that point where those dreams that occur you actually believe happened.
This was a real dream?
And then it was. And then it dawned on me, oh, my God, what if I'm in that passive state and I'm really living another world but don't realize? I mean, it got a little – this was a dream.
You woke up and remembered it.
I had a dream, and I did remember it. Yeah. Enough to even talk about it right now. Yeah.
Can I just say that I'm annoyed that people who are religious – various different denominations get mocked for believing in the afterworld or the afterlife or that there's a powerful being in the sky. But it's completely acceptable to think that there's another dimension. And, I just bumped into Charlie, who I used to work with. He's in the fourth dimension now. He passed. He's a little stuck in between. He's been shepherding me around by watching to make sure I don't spill my coffee in the morning.
But I don't think people think that that's normal either. I don't think it's acceptable.
No, I think we're looking at Christine like, okay.
She's a nut.
Okay, Christine.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming more acceptable than religion.
You think? What I enjoy are the people who are religious, but they believe both. So you believe the story of whatever your religion believes in, but then you also believe that there's a ghost walking through which is sacrilegious when you think about it. Is it, Christine? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm
not really.
I'm no
sure.
longer a good practicing Catholic.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to squeeze in? Player becomes first girl. I thought that was kind of interesting. First girl to score 2 touchdowns in a California high school football game. Prior to that, a girl had scored a touchdown, but only 1. And I know, Manaski, you hate these because it's always qualified. This is a girl who scored 2 touchdowns. A Laguna Beach student became the first female ever to score 2 touchdowns during a high school football game in California. Here is Bella Rasmussen. Her mother and her coach talking about all of the hard work it took to be able to get to the point where she could score 2 touchdowns.
I'm incredibly grateful and blessed to have the people that I do around me to support me and see me succeed. She was always pushing the envelope. She was always super ambitious. She was super physical, always wanted to be rough and tough.
We coach her hard. We have the same expectations for her, and she's met all those expectations.
If I don't do my job, if I don't protect myself and do what I'm taught to do, then yeah, I absolutely could get hurt. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to you got to be the hammer, not the nail.
It's a pretty big deal. You're playing in a high school football game.
Yeah, I'm all for women's sports and women's empowerment. We're going to make a big. So then the next time a girl gets 200 yards, 2 touchdowns and 100 yards rushing, it's going to be the first.
Well, I do understand that.
3 touchdowns.
It is unique to see even at the level of high school football, a girl able to play and to be so proficient in the game. And be a female at high school age. You do see it in the Pop Warner world and younger sports, but as they begin to develop and boys begin to develop, it becomes a little more difficult.
And then the thing this is California. I'm telling you, 10 years from now, mark it down. 12 years from now, you're going to be driving along somewhere, or your car is going to be driving you along somewhere, I should say.
Could happen.
And you're going to hear, for the first time in North Dakota state history, a woman rushes for 2 touchdowns in a game. It's like you have to mark the occasion by every single state. Who cares?
Wayne said you actually had a dream about Total Recall. That was the dream you had. Don't think too much into it. By the way, Wayne had asked me the other day, how is your population of stink bugs at your home? And yesterday, I saw a lot of them. They didn't get inside this time, so it's a reduced number as compared to what it's been like in years past. But there were a lot out yesterday. These are this invasive bug. And I want to thank the people at PETA, because on the air we were talking about how I was killing the bugs, and they gave me this little tool that allows you to it's plastic and has a little lever on it, and there's like a little floor that comes up underneath, and it traps the bug inside this little compartment, which is perfect for me to now take that into the bathroom and flick it into the toilet, and down it goes. So I'm still killing them, but I'm actually using a tool that I was given by the fine people at PETA. So thank you for that. The key is it's that other bug that's invasive that they say to kill, right?
The spotted lantern fly.
Yeah. They're recommending that if you see those bugs, you should kill them. That this becomes a horrible invasive bug when it comes to agriculture, including grapevines, which will affect the wine industry and other industries as well.
Apples, too.
And apples as well, a big problem. And finally, a family of an 8-year-old girl with alopecia out of Philadelphia had the family shave their heads in support of the little girl. Here's Savannah Brown talking about how touched she is by the gesture done by her extended family.
It was just like, OMG, like I have an amazing family that supports me in a really awesome way. Not a lot of moms would do that. They would cheer me on. My mom is special.
Well, it was, and her mom especially would be out there to cheer her on. This is the final full week of the month of October. Halloween is a week away. And are you giving out a lot of candy this year, or is inflation going to back you? Are you going to be backed off just a little bit? I'm going to tell you, we have decided on a new plan this year for Halloween. I'll explain it.
Are you budgeting the giveaway?
I am going to, every year we buy way too much.
Oh, yeah.
And it sits around in the house, and it's Snickers especially, very difficult to, it's only a little bite size, but then you have 7 or 8 of them, and you've eaten 2 big candy bars. That's the problem. But this will be the year we get a ton of people, probably. But in the 5 years that we've been in this house, we have a ton left over, so I'm backing way off.
Yeah, I've been really polishing off the Halloween candy on Sunday with these football games and baseball.
You're still eating the Halloween candy from last year. That's the problem. It sticks around. So do you go in heavy this year, or do you lighten up? And it isn't really the economy. I'm just lightening up. Davey, I'm hoping to lighten up.
That's the question that I got I wonder if we're in our.
You've never. This is your first time doing Halloween at this house, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you in the country area, or are you in more of the city, the village?
Well, we're off 365 in the town of Floyd, which is a heavy congested area. But from where we are, from what we heard from my mom talking to a couple people,
not many.
We don't get very many people.
Okay, then
but we
don't
never
buy a lot.
We got a lot of people when we were living with it up at my grandfather's, and then it died down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was laughing at the idea that that's a very heavily congested area. I mean, can you imagine talking to somebody from New York City? Well, you might think the big city's big, but have you ever been to Route 365?
It is all relative. Right?
In the town of Floyd?
Well, I'm sorry. Did I say it wrong?
No, you're fine, Davey. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I will say that when we grew up, I grew up in the country, we didn't get anybody. If somebody knocked on the door for trick-or-treating, my mother would have to go digging deep to find something because we would have, it might be somebody on the road that we lived on. So, moving into the village or into the city, you get a big uptick in the amount of trick-or-treating you get.
We're out of candy bars. Would you take 2 dimes?
That's right. Here's a granola bar. Would you like that? Quick break. We'll come right back. It's Monday morning, 6:44 WIBX.
Mohawk Valley FCU is giving you even more reasons to become a member and save money with their early fuel loan program. If you use alternative heating such as propane, heating fuel, pellets, or wood, then Mohawk Valley FCU has your back. You could receive up to $2,000 subject to credit approval. Stock up now for the upcoming heating season and save with Mohawk Valley FCU. Just one of the many benefits Mohawk Valley FCU has to offer. Visit MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info. Mohawk Valley FCU. Member focused, member driven.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black.
Get ready for the comedy of Louis Black, the King of Rant, performing live at the Stanley Theater in Utica, Friday, March 3rd at 8 p.m.
Why was their marriage so successful? It's because they never heard a word the other one said.
Louis Black with special guest Jeff Stilson. Tickets available through Ticketmaster by calling the Stanley Theater box office 315-724-4000.
By God, you feel good for at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Louis Black at the Stanley Theater, Friday, March 3rd. Tickets now on sale.
Cold weather is here, and for some of our friends and neighbors, a hot meal or warm, clean place to stay is something they dream about. With your help, the Rescue Mission of Utica can feed those who are hungry, clothe those who are in need of winter coats, hats, gloves, and provide a place to stay that's warm and safe. The Rescue Mission needs your donation to make this possible. To help those in need, please give at uticamission.org. Your support transforms the lives of so many in our community. Please donate today at uticamission.org.
Herkimer County has its feet in the Mohawk Valley and head in the Adirondack Mountains. For a spectacular fall tour, drive north from West Winfield or Richfield Springs through the Mohawk River communities of Herkimer and Little Falls to Dolgeville and Middleville. You will see more and more colors on the country roads around Newport and Poland, topping off with Old Forge in the Adirondacks. New York's tallest county is built for your autumn tour. Herkimer County, I love New York.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They have been your hometown buyer for the last 49 years. Every gold and silver buyer claims to pay the highest prices, but the Potting Shed Antiques have been around for so long because they pay a fair and honest price. Let Don and Nancy take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. Open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Learn more online at thepottingshedantiques.com.
Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget our chili cook-off, October 22nd. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget, come in and store your bike with us for the winter.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Couple things going on this week. You know that at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino tomorrow night, Adam Sandler will be in town. That's a show that happened back. I think that happened before, just before the pandemic.
Really?
And then it's a show that got canceled because of the pandemic. So everybody got their money back. And now it resold. And this is a show that sold out very, very quickly. It was sold out in a day. Adam Sandler's that big, huh?
I guess
Well,
so.
it's coming around Thanksgiving. He has the Thanksgiving song. He has the Hanukkah song. Big enough to sell out. I believe it's the showroom.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan. I do think he's funny, don't get me wrong. I think some of his movies are good. I just think he relies too much on that stupid voice with that where he doesn't really pronounce all the word the right way, and it's not a good impression of it. But
I thought you sounded just like him. I thought it was Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
They also have some Thanksgiving events going on this week. Halloween events going on this weekend.
I would think there's a lot, right? Because it's basically Halloween weekend,
right?
So all the big we go all out around here. I don't understand it completely, but I mean people really decorate for Halloween. There are some amazing front yards out there right now with like ghosts dangling in the wind and gigantic these huge, whether they're blow up or not. It's pretty impressive.
Do you guys decorate, right?
For Halloween? No. I mean, my wife puts out a couple things.
Right.
Mums, you get mums. It's like, all right, I see you're decorated for Halloween. I got the mums out.
So
we put cobwebs all over our yard this weekend.
Oh, so you're a big decorator of that.
Yes, but I don't do the blow up things. At least not yet. I'm not there in my life yet.
The problem I have with the blow up things is most people they don't keep them active during the daytime. So they just fall onto the ground, and you got all these deflated things all over the ground in the daytime. And then when it gets dark, they turn them back on, and it blows the air into them. So it doesn't look very nice during the daytime.
So I have 6.
I don't want to criticize anybody. I mean, if you like it, that's good for you.
To the point on Halloween decorating, my mother was always big into this, but my son likes Halloween, so family members are always giving me things to put in my yard or in the house, and I'm like, stop it. I mean, I just think it's a little too much with the constant decorating. It's like you have different seasons. You have to pull things down off the shelves, all your knickknacks.
Well, you've got
rearrange the
and
lawn.
Then right as soon as you're done, you're going to be decorating for Thanksgiving and for
Christmas.
And for Christmas.
Then we have Easter.
Don't forget Valentine's Day. Some people put hearts all over their lawn.
My mother with the hearts for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
then you have the regular season, right? This is like postseason.
Then there's Cinco de Mayo. I always celebrate that. Decorate the house, decorate the yard.
I want the children who are coming up to my door to have an experience.
Top 10 movies about witches. Halloween is the witching season, so it only stands to reason you should watch a witchy movie to celebrate this week. Here are the 10 best, according to IGN. The Love Witch is number 10. Eve's Bayou. Some of these I've never heard of. The Witches, number 8. The Craft, number 7. Practical Magic, number 6. Kiki's Delivery Service from 1989. Remember that one? No. The Blair Witch Project.
I remember that one.
I have to tell you, I saw that movie in theaters, and it was pretty scary. But it amazed me how many people believed it was real.
Well, that was the thing. Everyone thought it was real. All you
needed to do was wait through the credits, and you'd really immediately realize it wasn't real.
Well, isn't the whole idea, though, also that basically there was a murder and the camera was rolling, they were recording it, but...
you knew for sure it wasn't real when Blair Witch Project 2 and 3 came out.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, okay.
But the idea that they had, like camcorder murder footage that they made a movie out of.
Correct.
I mean, hello, people.
And the top 3 witches movies, Suspiria in 1977. Not familiar with that one.
Never heard of it.
A movie dating back to 1939 is considered the second biggest witch movie. What is it? Well, it would, of course, be The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, duh.
Right? Hello, The Witches.
My
and
son
finally,
loves that.
The 2015 movie The Witch comes in at number 1. The Witch. Not really sure which one that one is.
Wasn't that a scary movie?
I'm sure most of these were, except for Wizard of Oz, which, I guess was scary, and little parts of it was a little scary.
I don't think The Witch was a comedy. Definitely wasn't a comedy.
No, I don't think. The Witches
Especially
of
back then.
Eastwick, I think, was pretty funny. You should be probably thinking this week about changing your passwords. When was the last time you changed the passwords? This is another little issue. And phones are starting to get better. Your cell phones are starting to get better, and so are computers. Apple has done a really good job. There's also an app called Password One, which will assist you. What you want is to be able to come up with a really complex password, and then with your facial recognition or one master password or a thumbprint or fingerprint you can get on some of these phones, that it will remember the password for you. The problem is when things that make things easy, they work, and then they don't work, and you can't come up with the password. And you've selected some really difficult password that no one in the world could ever crack. According to experts, they say it's probably not soon enough for you to change your password. In a demonstration on CNN over the weekend, it showed how easy it is for hackers to get into your accounts. And if you're selecting a new password, here are some things to do and not to do. Are you ready? Don't use the same password for different services. Anybody guilty of that?
Yes.
Some people have one password, and that covers everything. That's a problem.
So for some people, the password is
password.
One password.
Yeah. Don't use a similar password or similar passwords across different websites, meaning adding just a number or a character to change it up. Hackers have algorithms that can estimate what changes you might make based on other passwords. This is a little trick that I always thought was a good way to do it. It's like you take a really good password, and then you mix it up a little, add a few things in there. They're saying you shouldn't do that. Another thing, do your best to use services that require multi-factor authentication. This is also a pain in the royal keister, right? So you get the password right, and then all of a sudden they're asking you to do some phone confirmation or how many.
YouTube.
My favorite is the how many crosswalks do you see in this picture? Or they'll give you the little writing where you have to figure out what the letters are, but they write them in an odd way. I can never figure those out.
Me neither.
It's terrible. Don't reuse passwords, ever, they say. And a reliable password manager can help you keep all of your passwords organized so you don't have to remember which one goes to which site. They say it is extra effort, but your internet security should be worth it, especially the way we use the internet today. They could be getting a hold of the hackers we're talking about, could be getting a hold of all sorts of private, sensitive information that you don't want anybody to have. And there you have that. What I wonder, though, is once you use the password, if the place you're using the password is hacked, if that place ends up being hacked, then they're going to get your password anyway. But I do find that the two-step authentication, those things do kind of work. So the only way you'd be able to confirm that the password was given by you is if at your cell phone you get a message with a code which you put back in.
Correct.
Those seem to be fairly, I think, fairly safe.
Safe,
Today,
but annoying.
But annoying. Today is the day where Apple does an update on their iOS. So the software on the phone, you'll be doing an update, and it's going to add a few features that haven't been added as of yet, including family photo sharing, which you'll be able to share photos with family members and with friends. And here's one. A woman saved from attempted murder, and what saved her? Technology. It was her Apple Watch. This one is all kinds of disturbing. In Lacey, Washington, a police report tells the story of the lengths one man would go to get rid of his soon-to-be ex-wife, allegedly. According to court documents, Young Suk An was kidnapped by her husband, Chae Kyung An, whom she was divorcing. This after an argument about money. Chae allegedly went nuts and bound her with duct tape before taking her into the woods. Digging a hole, he stabbed her and then put her in the hole. The good thing is, before he saw and smashed her Apple Watch, she was able to alert family members. Cops where she was specifically. Cops were able to ultimately find Young hiding in a nearby shed with duct tape around her neck and extensive bruising on her legs, arms, and other parts of her body. Her head and clothing were covered with dirt. The husband has been arrested on suspicion of first-degree attempted murder, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree assault, but formal charges have yet to be filed. It was her Apple Watch that was, police say, what ultimately ended up saving her.
That's incredible.
And even today, it's kind of interesting, like the new iPhones that just came out. So let's say you're in a situation where you get lost or you're in an accident and you're in an area where there is no cell coverage. The phones will now use satellite in order to send an SOS message out to family members or to authorities using satellite in an area where there is no cell coverage. That's pretty cool. Got a break. Big hour next hour. It will include our free money question of the day from Hobica next hour.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Road, W295DI Utica Road, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
It's another victim of COVID. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Our kids' education. Their scores are out from testing over the spring, the first since 2019, showing the biggest declines ever in math. An 8-point drop for 8th graders, down 5 points for 4th grade students. Reading scores fell by 3 points in both grades.
The National Center for Education Statistics offered this, quote, the general patterns are that the losses are big. They're much bigger in math than in reading, and they're much bigger in more vulnerable kids. Those seem like things that are very consistent with every other piece of information that we've seen in post-pandemic testing.
That's Fox's Alexandria Hoff. A 16-year-old school shooting suspect in Michigan is due back in court today.
Ethan Crumbley, who's accused of opening fire at Oxford High School last year, killing 4 students and injuring several others. He's expected to switch his plea from not guilty to guilty on all 24 charges against him, including terrorism.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Crumbley's parents were also charged with involuntary manslaughter, accused of providing the gun and ignoring warning signs he could be violent. 15 days before the midterm elections, a new ABC News poll shows more voters trust Republicans to handle crime issues and inflation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tells CBS Face the Nation.
The European Union, the UK, the British have higher inflation rate than we do here. It's not, the fight is not about inflation, it's about the cost of living.
And as Democrats try to keep control of Congress, Pelosi says a woman's abortion rights remains a key provocative issue. The World Series is set in baseball.
2-2, and Bregman into right center, a base hit.
A lead that Houston didn't give up on that hit by Bregman. The Astros beat the Yankees 6-5 in New York on TBS to complete a sweep and win the American League Championship. The Astros will play the Phillies.
This is the greatest day in the last couple years of Philadelphia.
The Phillies won the National League title, beating San Diego 4-3 in Game 5. The World Series will start Friday. America's listening to Fox News.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Good morning, WIBX. First news with Keeler in the morning news time is 7:03, 50 degrees. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by Baird Private Wealth Management, a strong financial partner for 100 years. Visit bairdoffices.com/Utica for more information. The Rome Police Department and the Attorney General's office will pay you cash for your guns and, in some cases, gun parts. They'll even pay for homemade or 3D printed guns and parts. No ID is necessary. Payments of between $25 and $250 are being offered. For more information, you can go to the Rome Police Department's website. A ticket worth $17,000 for the October 23rd Take 5 midday drawing was purchased at the Fast Track at 1 Main Street in Mohawk. If you think you may be the winner, you can check your ticket online. Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mayshall says deputies are currently conducting an investigation on Camerton Road near New Floyd Road in Floyd. Camerton Road is closed. The Sheriff's Office is asking people to avoid that area. More details will be released later this morning. A Verona crash is under investigation. Police say 4 people were hospitalized after 21-year-old Matteo Irizarry of Rome allegedly failed to stop at a stoplight and ran into a Chevy pickup truck. Both Irizarry and his passenger, as well as the driver and passenger of the truck, were brought to the hospital. Their injuries said to be non-life-threatening. Both of the vehicles were heavily damaged. Utica native Steve Wynn will not have to register as a foreign agent. A federal judge agreed that the casino developer who dealt with the government of China during the Trump administration would not be required to register as a foreign agent now, since his work with China ended in 2017. State police continue to search for a kayaker missing in Richfield Springs. 47-year-old Frederick Mayock of Massachusetts was last seen putting together his kayak on Saturday afternoon. Police were called on Saturday to Bill's Variety, located on West Thomas Street, for a report of shots fired. When officers arrived, they say 2 black males had entered the store and demanded money. No injuries were reported. Police are asking anyone with surveillance video or information to give them a call. They'll hold a town hall meeting tonight in Clay to discuss Micron Technology's plan to build a brand new computer chip plant there. Among the things expected to be discussed are infrastructure, jobs, and housing. Deputies releasing the name of a woman who lost her life in a weekend house fire in Onondaga County. 69-year-old Ann Prashaw was found on the first floor of the home. Neighbors tried to get inside the home to save her, but were not able to do so. Central New York drivers paying a bit less to keep their vehicles running these days, thanks to a slight drop in gas prices. AAA reports the average cost for a gallon of regular is now $3.59 a gallon. The state launching a brand new campaign aimed at lowering overdose rates statewide. New York State Oasis says more than 2 million Empire State residents are living with some form of addiction. It is the 8th largest jackpot in the history of the Powerball, and it will be up for grabs tonight. No one correctly matched all 6 numbers on Saturday, meaning if someone has a winning ticket tonight, they'll get at least $610 million. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit them today at clintontractor.net. A 30% chance of showers today, gradually becoming mostly sunny, the high near 65. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low around 54. Tuesday, partly sunny, the high near 72 degrees. A 20% chance of showers Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 59. Your temperature brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. 51 right now, WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 7:07. Here's Jeff Manaski with sports.
All right, thank you, Christine. The Houston Astros heading back to the World Series after sweeping the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. Alex Bregman and Yordan Alvarez each singled in runs in the 7th inning to lift the Astros to a 6-5 come-from-behind victory over the Yankees. Jeremy Pena had a 3-run homer during a 4-run 3rd inning for Houston, which advances to the Fall Classic for the 2nd straight season and for the 4th time in the last 6 years. The Astros will take on the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. Philly was able to advance in their series as they finally took care of the San Diego Padres. 4-1 was the final. Bryce Harper with a 2-run home run in the 8th inning that put the Phillies ahead and basically gave them the win. The World Series begins on Friday. NFL action this weekend. The Giants made some key plays late in the game, and they earned a 23-17 win over Jacksonville. The Giants trailed 17-13 late in the fourth quarter. Daniel Jones staged a 10-play, 79-yard touchdown drive, and the G-men would add a field goal on their next possession to give them a 6-point lead with just over a minute to go. Jacksonville drove the ball 74 yards to set up a potential game-winning score, but Trevor Lawrence rifled the pass to receiver Christian Kirk, who was tackled at the 1-yard line as time expired. The Giants are now 6-1 on the season. Jacksonville falls to 2-5. The Jets extended their winning streak to 4 games after topping the Broncos 16-9 in Denver. Breece Hall carried the ball 4 times for 72 yards, including a 62-yard touchdown score. Greg Zuerlein 3 for 3 on field goals, and Jerry Jeudy caught 7 passes for 96 yards. The Broncos dropped to 2-5. The Jets, believe it or not, are now 5-2 on the season.
I can't believe some of these Jets, Giants, Bills. What is going on here?
The Bills were on a bye over the weekend, of course. Syracuse football lost. They covered, but they lost.
That's a game they should have won. And it's hard, though. You're playing in Clemson, right? And you just knew that second half was going to be – all they had to do was score a touchdown.
Syracuse suffered its first loss of the season. 27-21 was the final. Syracuse was 14th in the polls. They now dropped to number 16. The NASCAR playoff picture remains blurry. Kyle Larson won the Dixie Vodka 400. Ross Chastain finished second. A.J. Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, and Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 5. Monday Night Football tonight right here on WIBX. It's brought to you by Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning. Our coverage of the game begins at 7:30, and tonight's matchup is the Chicago Bears visiting the New England Patriots.
So, Davey, would you say that the hit out of bounds was a real bad turning point for Syracuse? And then, interestingly, the hit that Clemson made on Syracuse out of bounds that wasn't called just a few minutes later.
Yes, it was. The momentum switched on that 15 yards.
Between those two calls, and to be fair, I think they were both hits out of bounds that probably should have been called. But for some reason, the Syracuse hit out of bounds wasn't called. And, that would have advanced them 15 yards. And at first down, it would have put them in range at least pretty close to a field goal.
Well, Syracuse could have had some 28 points when Anulayu
no doubt about
was pulled on the 4th turnover. Then they went to the second string. That's when the momentum of the Clemson offense switched.
Anyway, they play Notre Dame noon on Saturday. Pretty wild. All right, Christine and everybody, let's do this. I figured out. Let's just try to win tonight's Powerball, and then none of this will even matter. Right?
Duh. Why didn't I think
Hello?
of that?
What is wrong with you people? It's right there staring us in the face. So using the app Jackpocket, I can do it right now. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have numbers between 1 and 63. Davey, pick a number between 1 and 63.
47.
47. Okay. Christine, between
9.
9. Manaski.
37.
37.
Pick a number.
I'm going to go with 53. Okay, so who wants to go next? So Manaski and Christine will both go next. Okay, sorry, Davey. Manaski, pick a number between 1 and 63.
5.
Number 5. And then Christine, you get to pick the Powerball between 1 and 26.
8.
The Powerball is 8. Well, there you go. Boom. I think I just do this. And okay. So there we have it's placed. Confirm. Done. We have our ticket.
It's a winner.
And that's going to be a winner. That's how easy it is today. I'm not sure this is good.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
I'm not sure it's good. The betting stuff, how easy it is to bet right on your phone or on your computer, how easy it is to, face not recognized. Got it. Now it's done. how easy it is to buy a lottery ticket right there on your phone. I mean, I just don't think it's that. I'm not sure that's good for us.
Did you go off the diet this weekend, by the way?
A little bit. Why?
Oh, your phone's like, I don't even recognize you anymore.
That's right. There's no recognition. Yeah, you put on weight like that.
There's a fat guy trying to buy lottery tickets on your phone, Bill.
Not good.
So I have a weird story.
Thanks for that. Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that, but your phone's like, I don't
It
recognize
doesn't
you.
recognize me. Yes. Christine?
So I was packing boxes this was probably 2 months ago. And one of my sisters and I had been talking about the lottery and, what we would do if we won the lottery. And I said, Nana said before she passed that if she was ever able to come through and like help us win the lottery, she would do that.
You mean from the dead?
Right.
Okay, from the afterlife.
Okay. So if she were ever able to do that, she said she would do it. She said, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that you win big.
So this is either proof that there is no afterlife to take advantage of, or Nana is not going to help you. I mean, it's one or the other.
Literally the next day,
oh, no.
I'm going through boxes, and I see a letter from Nana, who passed many years ago. And in it was her pick for lottery numbers. Because I used to buy lottery tickets for her, like in New York, because she was in New Jersey. Back in the day, it wasn't so easy.
Do you play those numbers?
I play those numbers now all the time.
Okay.
So I've probably spent $8 gazillion because I'm waiting in the past 2 months for her to. I just thought it was a sign. It was literally the day after my sister and I were talking about this.
You want me to play them right now? I could do it. I'm just a finger stroke away.
No, I played them for this week.
Oh, you did?
So
Okay.
if we win, we all win.
All right. I like it. So let's see if Nana can get us there, crossing the finish line. I mean, I got to tell you something. What a ripoff the lottery is, though. When you really think about it, the average person will win nothing. They'll play. Maybe you win $4 here, $2 there.
I don't even win that.
The average person won't win. And then all we're doing is relying on this, the very, very minute number of people who actually win.
Well, that's how the jackpots get so big. And secondly,
yeah.
I mean, what do you want? The average person out there doing scratch-offs, or you want them, working at the store or the restaurant?
It would be nice. I do have a fear that that's where the entire workforce has gone, to scratch-offs. Every time I try to just buy my gas, for God's sake, or get a soda, there's a line of people that they're getting their scratch-off tickets. That's what, like we've been trained. It's just terrible.
Have you seen what happened to the job market in upstate New York? Well, it's that New York
scratch-offs.
New York and Company scratch-off.
Yeah, so they can win their $2 here, their $2 there. Sam Testa on the lines painted. I believe that happened over the weekend. They painted the lines on Genesee Street.
Did they?
Which changes the traffic pattern. I believe it happened. We'll speak with Sam coming up. And then Katie Aiello back on, and we'll discuss a little bit about the concerns that the Stanley Theater has. But I believe the two of them, the Stanley and Katie Aiello, have talked. So we'll get an update on all that coming up as well here this morning. Later on, John Zielinski is running for assembly. He's alleging there are issues with the Conservative Party in regards to endorsements of Rob Mashel and Marianne Buttonshaw. And we'll get into that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Stand by. 716 at WIBX.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk, paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Hi, this is John Calabrese. Is your company looking to hire qualified, dependable employees but unsure of where to look? Let Express Employment Professionals take on the recruitment and hiring process for you. We're a locally owned, full-service staffing firm. We'll help you find your next star employees. Business decisions come down to time and money, and Express can save you both. We take on finding employees for you so you can focus on meeting your business goals. Find us on the web at expressmohawkvalley.com for details on how to get started. Are you looking for a great job? Stop searching. ECR International is hiring for assemblers and maintenance technicians. You could be working for the company that actually helped kickstart the world-famous Boilermaker Road Race. Both of the positions that we're currently hiring for offer excellent pay with a full benefits package. Instead of waking up every day dreading work, wake up and have a fulfilling job working for a great local company. Work for ECR International. To find out more, just call Express Employment at 315-790-5723.
Julie Groh Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Groh Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Groh Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Groh Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Groh Denton to state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Julie Groh Denton for Supreme Court.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So a little bit of rain falling here in the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be up into the low 70s with a little bit of rain. I don't know. It's the forecast has certainly changed. It looked like it was going to be sunny all week long, and just like that. The latest prediction on the weather forecast for the winter, and I know you don't put any credence into it, and I don't blame you. However, they're saying it looks like it'll be a winter of extremes. So completely changed, right? So there'll be, high temperatures that are warm, and then temperatures that go really, really cold, and then we'll get a lot of rain, get a lot of snow. That's their latest prediction.
So to anybody who's lived here for the last 20 years, the code word there, so you'll have a better understanding of what they're talking about, it's called winter.
It is, and, it's cyclical, but I'm not sure they're very good at I don't think they're very good at predicting, but we'll find out. My favorite part, though, is that they'll predict in, September, and then they'll give you a revision that's completely different in October, and I'm sure they'll do the same coming up in December.
I feel like it might be the same thing with the traffic pattern in Utica. They've been predicting it's going to be one way, but we'll see how they paint the lines.
We'll see. Samantha Testa is with the Common Council in the city of Utica and is on the line right now. All right. Have we gotten anywhere over the weekend? Did you and Katie Aiello put together some kumbaya campfire and everything's good?
Well, no, Sam's on board with this. This was Sam's plan.
Well, I know there's.
Let's go back a little bit before you throw that out there. Okay.
Yeah, because I think I'm more right than you are in this situation.
The plan I put in place was back in 2016. It took me over 2 years to put the legislation together, meeting with the State Department officials, county officials, city officials, you name it. With that said, what was passed on, and I talked to you guys last week about this, what was passed at the Wednesday night council meeting, which, by the way, also doesn't need a resolution because it's already a law on the books that the mayor could have implemented with the administration on his own. This isn't something that the council doesn't pass resolutions. The mayor is the one that implements it, and that's that. Again, as of Wednesday, they had not completed the checklist that's mandatory when implementing complete streets inside a city. And I think that, when you put something together, this is the type of, confusion across the board that comes with it, especially in regards to the Stanley business owners down there that didn't get a chance to have a discussion on it.
Yeah.
We were at our meeting. We said there was more meetings in regards to skate parks and Stewart's than there was, changing the entire design of Genesee Street. With that said, they did not paint the lines yet. They kind of just etched it out in the road.
Okay.
So just a couple of things that are going to be concerned, that are concerning that I've already, driven down and seen. So when you're going south on Genesee Street, you're coming off the bridge in North Utica. Now you're taking both two-lane traffic, merging it into one lane because now Genesee Street is one lane. So in the intersection, you'll have both cars driving, in between, going through 5S and then merging into that one lane.
Okay.
Now what
That's
happens
a problem.
is, and this is kind of, you got to make sure your lights are all in sync. I had sent Jeff a message that I sent the council on Thursday. It's basically there's about 17 questions that never got answered. In regards to this, again, and I said this on the show last week. Having bike lanes next to parked cars is a serious concern, because who's going to be responsible when somebody opens up a door? If somebody's driving down the street, where is that bike going to go in oncoming traffic? That's what's going to happen. So again, if they actually took the time to put this together, you could probably have gotten away with maybe one lane of traffic going down Genesee Street, adding a bike lane to the sidewalk instead of the road, because that's just it's not normal. You don't usually you don't usually have cars that are parked on the side of the road and a bike lane and traffic on that part as well.
So there's parking, and then there's a bike lane.
Yes.
That is. I do agree with you that opening up a car door at that point could become a problem.
Well, yeah. And also what's going to happen when there's, say, for example, an emergency vehicle going down the street. Now you're going to take the congestion of the traffic going, say northbound, and pushing it into a bike lane. And that's, again, another concern. And, I don't know how many people are going to be riding their bikes up and down Genesee Street with the bike lanes. They really don't. But with the concern of a new hospital coming there, or actually already there, the amount of, ambulance traffic, so on and so forth, that could be coming down Genesee Street, are people going to now avoid Genesee Street because it's so backed up? This is you can't take a bigger city concept and put it in like a small town idea. Like having complete streets going into Old Forge, yeah, that's something that you could look at. But they also don't have bike lanes next to parked cars and so on and so forth. So, nobody can sit there and tell me that adding delivery lanes and turning lanes, in the middle of Genesee Street, another thing that there's not a delivery, that those are going to be delivery lanes now. And so you're going to have. I do like
the yeah. Well, there's also these bike lanes will work for delivery people within the city. So if you're like an Uber deliverer, some of them do it with the bicycle, right, in the city area. Or is that not?
No, where are you going to park? I don't know. That's a whole other thing I didn't even think about.
Well,
I guess what I was going back to is having the delivery. So say you've got a delivery truck in the middle of the lane on Genesee Street. You've got a car parked in a parking space. Now they say that they didn't change the width of Genesee Street, right? No, obviously, because you're not shortening the amount of distance and the width of the street. But the problem that I have is what's going to happen when you have a delivery truck in the middle of the road, you have a car parked, and you have a vehicle going down Genesee Street. Where is an emergency vehicle going to go? Because this is another serious concern. If you're going to have somebody driving a fire truck down the middle of the street, okay, getting to an emergency that they have to go to, you got a delivery truck parked in the middle of the road, and you've got a car parked in the lane next to it. Where is an emergency vehicle going to go? Nobody can tell me that a fire truck is sitting down a street when you've got all that congestion in that same area.
But where does a fire truck go when traffic is busy?
If you had
you had two lanes of traffic. So
what if they're both
cars
full?
They were able to merge over to the right lane.
Well, not if
it's the lane open.
Not if it's full.
For the fire truck.
Not if it's full, right? And at that point, everybody's trying to inch over just to give the fire truck enough room to get through.
Okay,
in that
just
hypothetical,
put it like
Sam.
that. There's 4 lanes of traffic, and it's concerning for a fire truck to get down. Now you're making it 1 lane of traffic, which makes it even worse, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And that's kind of that. Again, this first of all, they're in violation of implementing the Complete Streets policy, because as of Wednesday, when they passed the resolution, they never completed the checklist that went along with it. Okay. They never talked to the police department. They never talked to the fire department. They never talked to a majority of the businesses on Genesee Street. And I think the Stanley's concern is extremely valid for the fact that they have tractor trailers that park, on Genesee Street, buses unloading. And in front of that now, you're going to have one lane of traffic. And even if you put the tractor trailers in the middle of Genesee Street, you still block off the street during emergency. You still have the police there directing traffic and so on and so forth.
Okay.
I just wish that they went through the checklist. And another thing that I wanted to add too, and this is something that was part of the checklist. You have the bus stop on the corner of Genesee Street and Court Street. Okay. How are you going to have buses pulling into bike lanes and where are the buses going to go?
Okay. All right. I'll ask all these questions of Katie Aiello when she comes on. She's on.
Yeah, and it's another thing too. Like I when I specifically drafted the legislation back in 2016, I left the Common Council out of it because you really need people that like engineers and the Department of Transportation and county planning involved into what's actually going on, because all these questions would be answered had they just followed the checklist from the beginning. And that's the part that's frustrating for me, because I couldn't even support my own legislation that I drafted and sponsored in 2016.
Sam, what's on the checklist that needs to be done that they haven't done?
It's a 4-page checklist. I mean, they didn't do any of it.
My goodness!
It actually follows the Department of Transportation. So when they implemented complete streets in the state, you were able to mimic, what you felt comfortable with that checklist inside your own municipality.
How many items are on the checklist?
How many items?
Yeah, like how many boxes have to be checked?
I could send it to you guys.
Oh yeah, send us. I'd love to see the checklist.
So that you have it. So if you go on to the checklist, I got it right here. There's about let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, about 24 to 25 items that you're supposed to go through and check off before you actually implement it. So, I mean, like I said, that's what makes it a complete street. Not all streets that are complete streets have bike lanes. Not all streets that have complete streets have parking spaces or delivery lanes. You've got to. It's specifically designed to go through this checklist to see what works. You can't just draw lines on a street and say I want to add bike lanes and so on and so forth to this, because then complete streets doesn't work, and it's really not a complete street. You know what I mean? And
can I ask you this though, Sam? I understand. I understand, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing the things off the checklist. But when you say go street to street and there's different criteria for whether you have bike lanes or a middle lane or a loading lane, you can't – I know you understand this, but I'm just going to say it out loud. You can't go from the block below the Stanley that's parking lane, bike lane, 1 lane, center lane, to the block of the Stanley is now 4 lanes, to the next block is now merged into 1 lane, to now you're up to Oneida Circle. So there obviously has to be some level of consistency.
We're now calling it Oneida Circle?
Well, just because it's roundabout.
Okay.
And that's where the concern were maybe not adding bike lanes to the street and moving them to the sidewalks would have been conducive all up and down Genesee Street. I mean, the sidewalks are big enough. I mean, or maybe not doing, them on both sides of the street. I mean, that's something that you go through, not having bike lanes on both sides of the street. Maybe you just have a bike lane on one side of the street. You know what I mean? And that's something that you have to adjust to your plans as you're going going through this.
Based on the checklist.
They had a map from 2012 that doesn't even have the loading docks for the Stanley in there. I mean, they literally used the recycled original plan that the mayor had proposed back in 2012, where it had a median, and it made sense in the plan that he threw out. But you can't just pick out a map from 2012 and draw lines on it when you don't have the loading docks for the Stanley on there.
Okay.
Nostro was a bank before. I mean, there's a ton of things that
have changed
that weren't taken into consideration at all.
All right, I got a break. Samantha, thank you. If you want to call back in with Katie Aiello on, feel free to do so. She's coming on in a second.
I'll let her try and explain everything, because as of Wednesday, she couldn't explain it. So, I mean, I'll be there to listen.
Thank you, Sam.
Right. Okay, Samantha Testa, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
But you get what I'm saying, right? You can't have a bike lane for 2 blocks and then it's gone for 2 blocks because where's the bike going
Right,
to go?
'cause now everybody's got to merge. Right.
He's
All
going
of
to
a
be
sudden
on
there's
somebody's
no bike lane.
windshield is where he's going to go.
Okay, although it's amazing to see how this is pulled off in big cities, and people aren't dying. I don't know how they do it. It is incredible because it is being done in big cities where traffic is much more congested than what we're dealing with.
And look, and I say the council got it wrong. You need high-speed rail down Genesee Street.
Yeah,
That's what you need.
That might be the answer. There used to be trolleys that would go down Genesee Street years ago. Maybe we implement those. 7:33, stand by. We'll do our free money question. Christine has news coming up in a second. Tomorrow we will not be here. I just want to make that reference. We'll be celebrating the Powerball money we win tonight, so just letting everybody know. Christine just got word from Nana. We're good to go.
She came through in a
Yeah.
quantum universe.
There was a sign. The light blinked in the house. That was the sign they all agreed on, and here we go.
That fourth dimension technology.
We'll break. Christine does have real news coming up next on WIBX.
I'm Marima Smagic-Oren, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I forced the Oneida County political establishment to reopen the Rome DMV. If I can cause this kind of change as a candidate, think of what I can do as county clerk. The Rome DMV is reopening because I held Tony Picenti's feet to the fire by going to the Oneida County Legislature 3 times. Now, he's afraid my opponent is going to lose because she did not. Picenti tried to close the Rome DMV in 2012 and has been choking it ever since. A leopard never changes its spots. The truth is that, after the election, Picenti will try to close the Rome DMV again. I won't let that happen. I won't stop fighting for Rome. If Mary Finnegan is elected, she will be Picenti's puppet. Unlike Mary Finnegan and the rest of the Oneida County establishment, I put people over politics. That's why the Friends of Marima Smagic-Oren paid for this message.
Rob tried to manage his constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating day after day. After realizing it was irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, he found another way and finally said yes to adding Linzess.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
WIBX First News with Keeler in the morning news time is 7:35. About 50 degrees right now. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by GPO. It is Member Appreciation Month, and GPO says thank you to all of their members. See all of the great things they have to offer at GPOFCU.com. Jury selection scheduled to get underway today in the New York trial involving Donald Trump's namesake business, that is, the Trump Organization. While the former president is not being personally charged, the Manhattan DA says the Trump Organization has been hit with 9 counts of tax fraud and other crimes. Former Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg, who worked for the organization for decades, is expected to testify at some point. He's already been convicted of fraud, sentenced to 5 months in prison, and fined $2 million. A new poll shows voter interest is at an all-time high before this midterm election. The NBC News survey asked voters to rate their interest level in the midterms on a 0 to 10-point scale. More than 60% said their interest was at a 10. 57% also said this year's elections are more important than previous congressional elections. Other polls from the network found the economy is the top issue for most voters. Jury selection begins today in the state trial of 2 former Minneapolis police officers. The work week starting off with gas prices basically unchanged from over the weekend. AAA puts today's nationwide average at $3.79 a gallon. That's nearly 10 cents cheaper than it was a week ago. President Biden slated to receive his updated COVID-19 shot on Tuesday. That's according to a White House official. He's also expected to deliver remarks on the pandemic and highlight his administration's efforts to get Americans boosted. Apple has another iPhone update coming out today. iOS 16.1 will allow iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV users to access Fitness Plus even if they don't have an Apple Watch. Apple is also debuting its iCloud shared photo library, which makes it possible for everyone in a shared group to add, delete, edit, or favorite photos and videos. And North America's box office business is solid as The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's new movie Black Adam earned $67 million in its first weekend in theaters in the U.S. and Canada. Coming in second is the Julia Roberts, George Clooney rom-com Ticket to Paradise with just over $16 million. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. A 30% chance of showers today, cloudy, then gradually becoming mostly sunny with a high near 65 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low around 54. Partly sunny on Tuesday, the high near 72 degrees. A 20% chance of showers Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 59. A chance of showers on Wednesday, otherwise partly sunny, the high near 72. And a chance of showers Wednesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 50 degrees. Your temperature brought to you by Cliffs Local Market. They keep you going. Right now, 50 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:39.
Let's see. Here is Wayne saying, once in a while, this is probably also when it comes to the painting of the streets and changing the lanes and the traffic pattern we probably haven't thought of. Wayne says, once in a while on the parkway, you get a guy our age or older, and they pretend to be a car and ride the center of the roads dressed in full Lance Armstrong gear. I could just see the guy whizzing bound. And you do get that every once in a while.
Yes, you do.
And, now there would be a bike lane, I guess, for that person. And the other thing is when those...
Not on the parkway?
Not on the parkway, no. But with those people, when they're driving on their bikes, you don't want to mess with them because they'll hit you. And if you've ever been hit by a bike doing about 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, whatever, it could hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And could be even worse than hurt.
Can I just... I wonder if we'll talk to Katie Aiello. She'll be joining us in a minute. If one of the items on the checklist is that all drivers over a certain age have to get retested for their license, because this is the thing that drives me nuts about when they go to the single lane. It happens to me on Mohawk Street all the time. You get the person who's not doing the speed limit, or they're looking for an address, so they're going 15 and a 30, and you're stuck behind them. You and 38 other cars are stuck behind them. That's when people get upset.
I also I find that people don't know the rules of driving, and I don't know if we just forget. Like when you come to a four-way stop sign.
Yeah.
So one rule, there's the rule, and then there's the rule that supersedes, right? So you yield to the right, and is that right? No. Explain it to me, Cordelia, because But the first person, if you get there before somebody else, you get to go first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what I'm finding is I have the right of way, and I go, and everybody else is going, or I don't have the right of way,
and everybody waits,
and we're all sitting there. So I'm like, finally, screw it, I'm going, and everybody else has the same idea, and we all go at the same time. What has happened at these? I don't know. Maybe we've just forgotten. Maybe we've gotten too old. What is the actual rule, Cordelia? So so if the person is to my left, I have the right of way.
Well, I don't know on that aspect of it, but I do always. When I took driver's ed,
yes,
the rule was first one to stop, then you look all ways, and then the second car comes no matter which way they're coming. They have to stop and give the car that was there prior.
That was there before.
Yeah.
Yes. The right of way. So that's what I learned in driver's
Well,
ed.
that is true. And the problem is people don't follow. They get there and they're like, oh, my God, I've forgotten what the rule is. What do I do?
It's first come,
And
first
then
serve.
My
That's
favorite
what it
is the person who doesn't know what to do, gets a little angry and nervous, and they start waving to you to go like you're stupid. Come on, what are you doing? Go! So I go, and then somebody else goes. It's just a debacle. You know where I get it most often is over, I don't even know what the streets are, but as I'm going over to the Westmoreland Thruway exit, and I come over off 840, and there's a four-way stop sign there. If you keep going straight, you'd go into Westmoreland. Left would take you back out onto Route 5. And right would take you over by, is it Cider Street? Whatever the street is that you then go over to the Thruway. That's a four-way stop sign right there. No one can figure it out. It got so bad, my wife was like, do we have to go this way? Because everybody always screws up at the four-way.
She says, please don't go.
Yeah, just don't even go that way. It's terrible. I'm like, trust me, I'll be fine. We'll be all right. We'll get through it. Anything else, Cordelia, by the way? Thank you for advising us properly here.
Well, I don't know if it's properly, but that's the way I was taught.
All right.
Actually, I'm calling to remind people that Brandon Williams is going to be at the Harts Hill at 5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock today at Harts Hill Inn. Okay.
Yeah, 5 to 7, yep.
And I think that, so that's Williams versus Knoll for the 22nd Congressional District, the newly drafted 22nd, which includes all of Oneida and Madison counties. I got to say, it's a race that, a district that leans Democrat, but it's a very close race. This thing is almost a dead heat, so it could go either way. So get out there and meet the candidates.
I think the element is a lot of people are waking up and just don't want to have the same old, same old.
Yeah.
Like my terminology has always been clean the swamp.
Clean the swamp. You were cleaning the swamp before President Trump ever ran with that. So there you go.
Right.
Cordelia, one more time. 5 p.m. where?
Harts Hill.
Harts Hill.
Harts Hill. Okay. For some reason, I thought
5 to 7. 5 till 7. Okay, Cordelia, thank you.
Okay,
I
bye,
thought they
guys.
were in Mills, but I think that's where their headquarters is. There's a Republican headquarters on Main Street in Mills. So, okay, 5 p.m. tonight, Harts Hill and Brandon Williams.
Katie Aiello's coming in just a second. We'll talk to her about this new traffic pattern everybody's going nuts over. And before we get to that, let's do our free money question of the day. Chance for you to win $106.90 from the Hobeika Law Firm. Davey, this morning we're going with, I think it should be number 4. Caller number 4.
Okay.
And why would I select caller 4?
It's the number of wins the Astros have versus the number of wins the Yankees have.
I'm afraid that's it. I mean, Yankees lose in 4 straight.
Rub it in.
I don't mean to rub it in. Listen, the Mets didn't even get there. So,
yeah.
You can rub it right back if you want.
But if you're sore, rub that in like mountain ice. I'm telling you, you'll feel better.
Caller number 4, your chance to win $106.90 from the Hobeika Law Firm. The question is next, and then we'll talk street patterns. It's 7:45 at WIBX.
Hello. Hello there. I'm calling from Ace Research with a survey about Kathy Hochul.
Wait, kids, go upstairs. Mommy might have to use adult language.
Oh, my. Well...
Okay, Kathy Hochul, who sits in Albany and refuses to fix New York's broken bail law. You know, the liberals' little cashless bail, catch and release experiment.
Yes, that Kathy Hochul.
Want to talk about how New York has the highest taxes in the nation? How people are moving out? How even one of the newspapers admitted Hochul's budget stuck it to taxpayers?
Actually, that's not in my script.
Then how about Hochul and pay-to-play corruption?
Ma'am, can I just ask, are you voting for Hochul or Lee Zeldin?
You kidding? This state needs to hit the reset button. And that's Lee Zeldin for governor.
Paid for by Safe Together New York, Inc. This communication was not expressly authorized or requested by any candidate or by any candidate's political committees or any of its agents.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black.
Get ready for the comedy of Louis Black, the King of Rant, performing live at the Stanley Theater in Utica, Friday, March 3rd at 8 p.m.
Why was their marriage so successful? It's because they never heard a word the other one said.
Louis Black with special guest Jeff Stilson. Tickets available through Ticketmaster by calling the Stanley Theater box office at 315-724-4000.
And by God, you feel good for at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Louis Black at the Stanley Theater, Friday, March 3rd. Tickets now on sale.
The Assembly Chamber in the state capitol is called the People's House. For most, that's just a catchy political phrase. But for Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshawn, it's a promise. Marianne Buttonshawn brings the people's ideas, your ideas, to Albany and turns them into law. A constituent from Rome inspired a new law reducing the theft of catalytic converters. A stricken Utica family inspired Bianca's law, prohibiting the exploitation of hurtful, graphic, violent images on the internet. Revere Copper, new antimicrobial copper, would decrease the spread of COVID-19. So Marianne introduced a bill requiring copper fixtures in all taxpayer-funded projects. Like you, Marianne Buttonshawn shows up for work. She's never missed a session roll call or committee meeting. Like you, Marianne listens. Her office answers 5,000 phone calls and emails a year. Marianne Buttonshawn brings your values and your voice to the State Assembly. That's why the Friends of Marianne Buttonshawn paid for this message.
For the past 25 years, the Good News Center has been committed to building relationships. Better relationships for marriage, better family relationships, and a better relationship with God while promoting self-change. Hi, this is Judy Hauk, Executive Director at the Good News Center. Our programs are designed to support you at your most challenging times. Whether it is marriage difficulties, addiction issues, suffering the loss of a loved one, or caring for someone close, we can offer you support. Or strengthen your faith journey by attending one of our spiritual renewal programs, such as a Bible study or Theology Uncorked. Our support programs are available in person or via Zoom. They are mentored by peers, cost nothing, and are confidential. For more information about all of our programs, visit us at thegoodnewscenter.org or call us at 315-735-6210. The Good News Center, building relationships for over 25 years.
Cold weather is here, and for some of our friends and neighbors, a hot meal or warm, clean place to stay is something they dream about. With your help, the Rescue Mission of Utica can feed those who are hungry, clothe those who are in need of winter coats, hats, gloves, and provide a place to stay that's warm and safe. The Rescue Mission needs your donation to make this possible. To help those in need, please give at uticamission.org. Your support transforms the lives of so many in our community. Please donate today at uticamission.org.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
7:49, and coming in, Katie Aiello. We'll speak with her in a second. Right now, well, let's do Hobica's free money question of the day from Joseph and Andrew Hobica at 315-724-1600, the Hobica Law Firm. And on the line right now is Tim in New York Mills. Hello, Tim. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Bill. Fine, thank you.
All right. Are you ready to play? And I feel like you might be able to pull this off.
I hope so.
All right. Me too. It's for $106.90. Here is your question. Today is National Bologna Day. We're talking about the luncheon meat. National Bologna Day. Bologna was invented in what country? Ready? Go.
Poland.
You're going to go with Poland. It's kind of what I expected all of us had said when we kind of tested out this question a little earlier. It is not Poland.
It was also my guess. It was also my guess.
I used to work at Apanowitz.
Apanowitz is a great place to get bologna. Or Bologna, which is the name of the city in Italy that invented bologna. When it came to the United States, we didn't like Bologna as a pronunciation, so we started calling it bologna, and there you have the history of Bologna. Bologna. Yeah, bologna is Italian. I had no clue. Mamma mia. And when I saw you from New York Mills, I'm like, he's totally going to say Poland.
Yeah.
But
what I said.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll give you where you might be able to get a fried bologna sandwich. I don't know if they're still doing that at the 72 Tavern and Grill. At the Adirondack Bank Center, we'll give you a $25 gift card for that. And if you want to try out Fat Cats Comedy Club, we'll give you a table for 6. Davey's going to hook you up either way. Stand by, Tim, all right?
All right, thank you, Bill.
All
Beautiful show.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much. Stand by. Davey, take care of Tim. Katie Aiello, good morning. Thanks for coming back in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're now becoming a regular.
Yes, I love this.
Okay, so we just had Samantha on. Did you hear Samantha?
I did.
Okay, good. Do you have any response to, first of all, I loved Samantha's end. How did she put it? She's like, no, I'm not going to come on. She couldn't answer the questions last Wednesday. I don't think she's going to be able to answer them now. Do you want to respond to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it to it. They keep saying I haven't ever looked at the complete street checklist, but I was texting Jeff. I knew there were 24
She did.
posts, and it is part of this. And I just want to.
Are there 24 boxes on the checklist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's a great policy. She did a wonderful job. You can tell it took 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this, people keep saying nobody knew, which I was on here last week saying, yes, how this came up wasn't ideal. I wish we had more time to talk to more people. Completely.
Right.
Completely. This part, though, of the trial is still the phase of letting people know. This is not permanent. I know we're scared of done deals in this town.
Right.
That's
right.
not what this is. It's we need to see it to learn more, because a lot of the questions I kept getting were the same patterns and questions of what used to be, not what we were trying to implement now.
The lines that are going to be going on the street, which didn't happen over the weekend, though.
They're chalking them, and then Monday night and Tuesday night.
So tonight and tomorrow night they're going to. Okay. So, but that is basically just a test.
Yeah.
And it's a trial period that'll last through the rest of this year. And after that, we'll then review, and people will say, well, this worked and this didn't work, or this was wonderful, let's do it. Am I correct?
Yeah, how it actually flowed. They did a similar one above, like South Genesee Street from to Jewett Place, and we had really positive surveys off of that. Felt like that was a little too different than what we were used to in the commercial side, so let's try that. The last thing she was talking about, though, was bike lanes on the sidewalk. That's an idea I pitched to her before the meeting. I have photos of back in August and September. I was out there with a measuring tape. If you go to Route 5S in front of Beit Shalom, it's beautiful. The bike lane that is on the sidewalk there, it's amazing. Is it conducive for Utica? Some of our sidewalks are 18 feet. Some go down to 15 feet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I am for protected bike lanes more than anything.
The other problem is that you have some restaurants that are now utilizing part of the sidewalk for seating.
Exactly. So especially on the Stanley's block there. So that's also, there's a lot of different opinions and different ways complete streets can happen. And this, there are many places where, yes, bike lanes, I heard you guys say, what happens if somebody opens the car door? Cyclists are very mindful of this. It's not easy to
so
ride.
should the person who's opening the door, right? I mean, you could be it could be a traffic lane, and you don't want to open the door to a car.
Exactly.
Right, you get clipped that way, sure.
So
there are some things that are a part of just basic common sense that we probably should be.
And I know the Stanleys had a lot of concerns too, and I keep trying to address them.
Have you spoken with them over there?
Many times.
Okay, in the last 3 or 4 days?
Yes.
Okay, because she was going to come on today, Linda, and had decided that it would be better, which I think is a good decision, to really talk it out with you
completely agree with
opposed
that.
to
They
getting
have
on the radio.
Concerns, rightfully so. I'm completely interested in working with them. They made comments of, I think they're really either held up on, the delivery zones. I'm like, Stanley's going to be a unique exception. Just like they use the road however they need to now, we're going to keep letting them do that to put on the shows that they bring for everybody.
So if the tractor trailers come in, well, which they will, and they'll be coming in this week for a show.
Mm-hmm.
When they come in, what you're saying is they'll inform the police department like they currently do. Police will direct traffic. They will use Genesee Street no matter what the lines are, whether they were...
And then we have to accommodate the lanes that whatever the trailers push out accordingly. And cyclists, if a bike lane ends, you just merge into the road and ride like we do on all the other 200 miles of road in the city.
Okay. Manaski, you have anything?
Yes. So they're chalking or they're painting?
They're chalking now. They're painting tonight.
And then that will be in place. It might have to be repainted if everybody hates this.
Yeah, completely. Or if we have a different solution. And, one thing that's been really interesting.
So you're saying it could stay. Right now it's set to stay until the end of the year.
Right. January 17th, I believe. Well, that's when we passed it.
But it could be decided that this worked really well. We're going to keep it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
The council would actually have to vote on that for it too.
All right.
Is it uniform block by block? Like, let's say if you're on the north side of Oneida Square, Oneida Circle, right? It goes from 1 lane to 2.
Right.
And then
they're going to ebb and flow differently based on this. If you go to my website, I put a resource on this of, it's at katieforutica.com. Click the Complete Streets thing is right in the front. And we'll learn more from engineering, but I think there's better practices. You're not going to have the same thing work for every block, and that's what we're going to learn throughout this.
To go from, I guess my concern is, you understand what I'm saying? You got, it's a block. It's not a New York City block. It's a Utica block.
Right.
So it's 2 lanes, 1 lane, 1 lane, 2 lanes, 2 lanes, 1 lane. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of, we all got to get together, and then we can spread out, and I can get in front of this car, but now we got to get back together. I have some concern about that.
Absolutely. The complete street. So if you go to my website, I put a timeline of complete streets in Utica, New York. And it highlights in 2012, the Genesee Street Corridor Improvement Plan was placed, with complete streets included. The next step in 2012 was the preliminary complete street design, which is what has been posted a lot. That isn't what we're going off of completely right now. 2016, Utica Common Council passed complete streets policy. 2020, Utica Downtown Revitalization Initiative had a streetscape concept proposal. That talks about a lot of what you're saying and exactly where you're identifying where it changes. They highlight that. So I didn't just draw something up and say, hey guys, I hope this is.
I know.
Some people think that.
No, you
So
know what? That's true too. Some people do think that.
Let's just put a pause on it. We'll on the other side of the break. We'll talk some more. Fair enough. You have time. Yeah. We have news straight ahead, and we'll continue with Katie. Also, Zelensky has a complaint and a gripe. John Zelensky. He's up next hour as well.
I'm Marima Smagic-Oren, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I forced the Oneida County political establishment to reopen the Rome DMV. If I can cause this kind of change as a candidate, think of what I can do as county clerk. The Rome DMV is reopening because I held Tony Picenti's feet to the fire by going to the Oneida County Legislature 3 times. Now, he's afraid my opponent is going to lose because she did not. Picenti tried to close the Rome DMV in 2012 and has been choking it ever since. A leopard never changes its spots. The truth is that after the election, Picenti will try to close the Rome DMV again. I won't let that happen. I won't stop fighting for Rome. If Mary Finnegan is elected, she will be Picenti's puppet. Unlike Mary Finnegan and the rest of the Oneida County establishment, I put people over politics. That's why the Friends of Marima Smagic-Oren paid for this message.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting Judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WYBX 950 Utica Road, W295DI Utica Road, your news, talk, and sports leader, Town Square Media Station.
COVID didn't have to infect kids to affect kids. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Scores just out from the spring testing of 4th and 8th graders, the first one since 2019. And they went down in both grades.
Not one state saw any improvement in average test scores since the pandemic caused significant learning loss for America's youth. New test results from the National Assessments of Educational Progress show math scores seeing their largest decrease ever, with nearly 4 in 10 8th graders not able to understand basic math concepts. Reading scores also taking a dive, dropping to 1992 levels.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. 15 days before the midterm elections, early voting starts today in Texas and in some counties in Florida. 13 more states will let voters cast ballots this week. And inflation remains the top issue for most voters. But at the gas pump, we've been saving money the past week. Oil's also been cheaper, so analyst Julie Lundberg says,
if oil prices don't change much, we will see follow-through, we will see pass-through of a few more pennies at the pump.
AAA's national average for regulars, $3.79 a gallon, nearly a dime, less than a week ago. 9 cents, though, higher than last month. Trump goes on trial today, but not Donald himself. His business.
This case originated out of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and initially accused the Trump Organization and the chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, of tax fraud, giving high-level executives money off the books. Weisselberg pled guilty earlier this year to hiding more than $1.7 million he received and was sentenced to 5 months in jail. He is also expected to testify against the company at this trial.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Harvey Weinstein's also on trial again, this time in Los Angeles, where opening statements start today in the second case against the now infamous ex-movie producer facing rape and sexual assault charges. Weinstein's already serving a 23-year prison sentence for convictions and similar charges in New York. America's listening to Fox News.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3. That's relieffactor.com or call 800 the number 4 relief. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Good Monday morning, WIBX. First news with Keeler in the morning news time. Situating this morning between 49 and 51 throughout most of our listening area. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by GPO. It is Member Appreciation Month, and GPO says thank you to all of their members. See all the great things they have to offer at gpofcu.com. The Rome Police Department and the Attorney General's Office will pay you cash for your guns, and in some cases, gun parts. They'll even pay for homemade or 3D printed guns and parts. No identification is necessary. Payments of between $25 and $250 will be distributed. All the details at WIBX950.com later this afternoon, or you can call the Rome Police Department. A ticket worth $17,000 for the October 23rd Take 5 midday drawing was purchased at the Fast Track on 1 Main Street in Mohawk. If you think you might be the winner, you can check your ticket online. Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mayshill says deputies were working an area near Camroden Road, near Floyd Road in the town of Floyd this morning. We're still waiting for updates on that incident. A Verona crash under investigation. Police say 4 people were hospitalized after 21-year-old Matteo Irizarra of Rome allegedly failed to stop at a stoplight and ran into a Chevy pickup truck. Both Irizarra and his passengers, as well as the driver and passenger of the truck, were brought to the hospital. Their injuries said to be non-life-threatening. Both vehicles were heavily damaged. Developer or spy, Utica native Steve Wynn will not have to register as a foreign agent. A federal judge agreeing that the casino developer who dealt with the government of China during the Trump administration would not be required to register as a foreign agent now, since his work with China ended in 2017. State police continue to search for a kayaker missing in Richfield Springs. 47-year-old Frederick Mayock of Springfield, Massachusetts, was last seen assembling his kayak on Saturday afternoon. Also on Saturday, the Rome PD dispatched to Bill's Variety Store located on West Thomas Street for a report of shots fired. It happened at about 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. When officers arrived, they learned 2 black males had allegedly entered the store and demanded money. No injuries were reported. Police are asking anyone with surveillance video or information about the case to give them a call. A town hall meeting will be held tonight in Clay to discuss Micron Technology's plan to build a brand new computer chip plant. Among the things expected to be discussed are infrastructure. The project is projected to create roughly 50,000 jobs over the next 20 years. Deputies in Onondaga County releasing the name of the woman who lost her life in a weekend house fire. 69-year-old Ann Proshot was found on the first floor of the home. On Saturday, neighbors tried to get inside to save her, but were not able to. Central New York drivers paying a little bit less to keep vehicles running these days thanks to a slight drop in gas prices. AAA says the average cost for a gallon of regular is now $3.59 a gallon. That is down a penny from this time last week. In the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports launching a brand new campaign aimed at lowering overdose rates statewide. The agency says more than 2 million New Yorkers are living with some form of addiction. And the 8th largest jackpot in the history of the Powerball lottery game will be up for grabs tonight. No one correctly matched all 6 numbers on Saturday, meaning if someone has a winning ticket tonight, which would probably be the Keeler in the Morning crew, we will
it's us. We're going to have it.
Right. We'll get to split $610 million. Incredible.
I love it.
It's going to be us. Life-changing. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. A chance of showers and gradually becoming mostly sunny today with a high near 65 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low around 54. Partly sunny Tuesday, the high near 72 lucky degrees. Mostly cloudy Tuesday night with a low around 59. Right now, an average temperature of about 50 degrees in our listening area. Your temperature brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. WIBX First News with Keeler in the morning news time is 8:07. Here's Jeff Manaski with sports.
All right, thank you, Christine. The season over for the New York Yankees. They lost to Houston 6-5 last night, a 4-game sweep for the Stros, who returned to the Fall Classic for the second consecutive season and the fourth time in the last 6 years. Jeremy Pena popped a 3-run homer to tie the game early, and he was named the series MVP. The Astros now face the Philadelphia Phillies after they got rid of the Padres yesterday, a final of 4-3. They win that series 4-1. Bryce Harper, a big 2-run, 8th-inning home run that gave the Phillies the lead and ultimately the win. The World Series starts on Friday. Football over the weekend. The Giants made some key plays late in the game against Jacksonville to earn a 23-17 win over the Jags. The Giants trailed 17-13 late in the fourth, but they got a touchdown from Danny Jones and a field goal late. Jacksonville tried to scramble down the field with just a minute left, but Trevor Lawrence's pass to Christian Kirk was completed, but he was tackled at the 1-yard line and his time expired. The Giants now 6-1, and their best start since 2008. Jacksonville falls to 2-5. The Jets win again, 16-9 in Denver. Breece Hall carried the ball 42 yards, including a 62-yard touchdown before he exited the game with a knee injury. The Jets are now 5-2. Denver falls to 2-5. The Bills were on a bye this weekend. Syracuse played well Saturday but lost to Clemson. The final 27-21. SU drops in the latest rankings from 14th to 16th. Up next, they will play Notre Dame at the Loud House on Saturday at noon. The game televised on ABC. Monday Night Football tonight right here on WIBX. The Chicago Bears at the New England Patriots. Our coverage of the game begins at 7:30, and it's brought to you by Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning. The NASCAR playoff picture is still blurry. Kyle Larson won the Dixie Vodka 400 in Miami this weekend. Ross Chastain finished second. A.J. Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, and Brett Keselowski rounded out the top five. Joey Logano, Chastain, Chase Elliott, along with William Byron, are the top four drivers in the playoff standings. Anything to add there, Smitty? The Utica University Pioneers football team lost over the weekend. That was their first defeat of the season. And there's so much more to get to. There's more sports news than world news.
We're going to wrap up our conversation with Katie Aiello from the Common Council in Utica regarding the traffic pattern. And so the painting of the lines will actually happen tonight and tomorrow night. We'll talk more about that and finish it up coming right up. 8:10 right now at WIBX.
This is Harry G., the heat pump expert from Country Suburban. With New York State planning to eliminate fossil fuels, heat pumps are the wave of the future. Heat pumps can save you up to 30% or more on your heating and cooling bills. Right now, you can receive up to $20,000 in heat pump incentives. Call 315-735-5300 for a free estimate.
For your financial advice to be useful, it needs to be tailored to how you live your life. I'm Jim McGuire, branch manager of Baird's Utica office. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning for all areas of your life: retirement, family, and estate plans, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate our advice with your tax and legal advisors, so you can be confident all your plans are working together for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdUtica.com.
Mohawk Valley FCU is giving you even more reasons to become a member and save money with their early fuel loan program. If you use alternative heating such as propane, heating fuel, pellets, or wood, then Mohawk Valley FCU has your back. You can receive up to $2,000 subject to credit approval. Stock up now for the upcoming heating season and save with Mohawk Valley FCU. Just one of the many benefits Mohawk Valley FCU has to offer. Visit MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info. Mohawk Valley FCU, member focused, member driven.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lewis Black.
Get ready for the comedy of Lewis Black, the King of Rant, performing live at the Stanley Theater in Utica, Friday, March 3rd at 8 p.m.
Why was their marriage so successful? It's because they never heard a word the other one said.
Lewis Black with special guest Jeff Stilson. Tickets available through Ticketmaster by calling the Stanley Theater box office at 315-724-4000.
And by God, you feel good for at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Lewis Black at the Stanley Theater, Friday, March 3rd. Tickets now on sale.
Your bills are due on the 13th, but you don't get paid until the 15th. Sound familiar? Life doesn't always wait for payday. Get the NetSpend All Access account for your everyday mobile banking needs and get paid up to 2 days faster with direct deposit. Get started today at netspend.com and go beyond banking. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA member FDIC. Faster access based on comparison of our ACH processing policy versus posting funds at settlement. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, we have a couple of questions on the painting of the street and the change in the traffic pattern. Katie Aiello is in studio, and basically what this means is it's going into play until January 17th as a trial, after which we'll determine if it's something that's going to become permanent or not. If it isn't permanent, what do you end up doing? I know you have a question on the line.
Yeah, so Lance and Lee with a question here. Lance says, I worked with the DOT for 30 years. Paint doesn't just disappear after 90 days. Please ask Katie if they are using epoxy or waterborne paint epoxy as much, or waterborne paint. Epoxy is much more permanent and is much harder to remove. So what happens after 90 days?
Right. We don't want this to just accidentally come off, especially before the trial's over. That would be dangerous. But after 90 days, the road would then be grinded down, and then they repaint back to the either back to the way it was or a new way completely. So, yeah, we grind and then repaint.
I also, where this will become a little bit confusing, and I hate to be the person that's, because right now it seems like everybody's just throwing things. Here, this has been passed. At least the trial.
That's okay. That's part of this.
And now everybody's just throwing out things from left field. But oftentimes in the winter, we deal with streets that you don't see the lines. There may be a day or two where it's so cold. We've had a lot of snow. The plows have not gotten to the point where they salted the roads, and you can actually see the lines. How confusing is this going to get at that point?
I think it's going to be the same. I mean,
just as confusing as it normally would be.
Yeah,
the
we
problem
all have
is
to use our best discretion for this.
But the problem at this point, you have a history of 2 lanes and 2 lanes and a
and then
double.
maybe we leave signage up telling people to be more mindful. I agree. These are all things we need to look. That's why I'm excited. Actually, we're doing this trial now with the winter included.
Right.
I think I am such a believer in complete streets. And I know it's so counterintuitive to so many people. If you're reducing lanes, doesn't that people think that reduces accessibility to these businesses? So I'm looking forward to the chance of this trial. You know, over the weekend, I had a lot of comments and questions and concerns, rightfully so. People don't like change as it is normally, and then this is a big deal to a lot of people. So I am here for every question. But there's a couple categories of people I've noticed. It's either people love it. People are on the fence, don't like, let me learn more, I know nothing about this. Or there's this other category of like people worried it will fail, and then people who want it to fail.
Right.
And I'm here for all of it, except if it's the people who want it to fail, I don't align with that. We're going to leave it open for the trial. But then there's also people who are asking questions because they have genuine concerns. And then there's people who just want to take their anger out on someone. So I don't have time for that. There are people I need to dedicate my time to and have serious
welcome to Utica. I mean, that's an issue where that category has existed for a long time.
It has, and I think a lot of us are ready for that for us to grow from that.
I mean, think about this. Just look at, and I get it. I understand that people in Utica have a different thought on how much they should have paid for the parking garage and the hospital. Just look at how difficult it was to get through the process of building a hospital that is going to definitely improve the quality of life and our health opportunities in Utica and in the region. Look how hard that was.
To get that
that done. I mean, there was the sign still exists. No hospital downtown. We're fighting over putting a Stewart's in. The Kelberman Center, we're fighting over that. It's unbelievable that the the fighting that happens in Utica over everything.
It's really sad. And I think,
By the way, how did we get through without no roundabouts in Utica?
Oh, listen,
Downtown?
that was I was waiting for this.
How did we get through that? How did we get roundabouts put in Utica? We must have done it in secrecy, like in the middle of the night or something.
Boy, that Dave Rivero can get stuff done. So my suggestion was going to be a roundabout at every intersection. We'll get rid of this problem right now. We put a roundabout at every intersection on Genesee Street, and everybody be miserable.
People struggle with the roundabouts,
which I don't get.
Yeah.
So I think, but you bring up good points. People say, why now? The hospital's coming. Why don't you wait till then? I think because it's coming, let's prepare and get used to this new change before even more change is added.
I almost feel like a curb or a median would actually work better because that would be more permanent in the winter months, especially. You would know exactly where the road and where you're supposed to go. Whereas I worry a little bit about the lines during those months where sometimes the lines don't exist.
That's a good point, though.
And remember, we're dealing with habit. So everybody knows there's two
Utica
lanes.
Habits.
Utica habits.
Yeah,
two lanes and a double line.
I also
everybody
love
knows
a
that.
median isn't just for the barrier between cars, but it also serves as a center island, so it's safer to actually walk across the street.
Right.
And then with the Stanley, I know people in there are concerned, but this is also everybody who comes to the city is a pedestrian at one point or another. Either you're riding a bike or you're in a car and you're getting out. But for all sorts of people of all abilities who are either walking to shows or restaurants or dinner, it's going to now be safer to cross the street if you have less lanes flying through. I hear a lot of people say it's a busy road. I'm like, we know that's actually part of the problem.
Right. And I do understand that a median would cause a problem for the Stanley. They would.
But again, I think
first responder vehicles.
Yeah.
I think it's like looking at those solutions street by street. And ideally, it's not just bike lanes. And a lot of this comes from to make the street safer. And the more space cars have, let's start there, the faster they're going to go.
Yeah.
And right now, we don't have the actual amount of cars that fill up the space. So they have free reign to, a lot of what comes with this complete street is drivers are going to have to not be negligent. They're going to have to be mindful of how they drive. That's what we want.
All right.
And
Teresa I'll go to you next, Jeff. Teresa with a question for Katie. Hi, Teresa. Good morning.
Well, you actually mentioned one of my concerns, which is, even though it is beautiful out, we are expecting inclement weather real soon. And so, these changes, you can't see the lines once the changes are made, and that's going to be very soon. And then furthermore, she's talking about in January, when we're in the height of our not-so-wonderful weather, trying to chip and change the paint lines if this test is wrong. I mean, we're going to have trouble just making sure the roads are clear.
Okay. All right. So more of a comment, but how do you respond?
No, I think that's a great, it's an interesting point. I also hear on the snow, nobody rides bikes in the snow. One, that's not true, but also.
Have you ever seen Cowboy not riding a bike in Utica?
But
Come on.
Anchorage, Alaska is a silver level city for bike lanes, and they have they're about to hit 500 miles of bike lanes.
Wow.
And so if Alaska is managing to pave roads, paint roads, have bikers, I think Utica's going to figure out solutions.
All right.
Lance and Lee.
Thank you, Teresa.
Lance responds to his question, your answer to his question. He said, so they're going to grind down new blacktop. Good thing the city's got a lot of COVID money. That was his comment. Do you want to react to that?
Yeah, I mean, when are you supposed to do this? If we want to look into making our city streets safer, I think this is the next step.
Hubbard and Ilian says, Utica Common Council seems to be in quite a rush. Are they trying to beat an election? This will be fun to watch. Doesn't the city lose highway money if they lose travel lanes?
DOT's supporter of complete streets. I don't think it's about travel lanes. I think it's about the amount of traffic. Anyway,
it'd be hard to. What election are you trying to beat?
I don't.
November 8th? No.
I don't think that will play any role.
Neither do I.
Either way, I'm just here to. I've never been secretive about this.
You're really for this. Do you think there's? Can I ask you?
Yeah.
And I want to ask a fair question. Do you think that there may become a time where you are so for this that you feel that your I don't want to say your judgment was clouded, but maybe you're just so for this that there's no changing your mind?
I see a lot of nuances to things. What I am preparing myself for.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, I think it's a great question. What I'm preparing myself for is if this isn't the answer.
Yeah,
that's going to suck, and I'll deal with that.
Right.
But that's also what's in the best interest of the people, and I think if we all keep focusing on that, that's
If it
That's
does
where our
work
interests
out, what do you think we change it from Complete Street to Katie Streets?
No,
your name should be on it.
Sam was
There's
in
more
here.
streets that need to be.
Sam would be like,
How
wait a
about
minute.
bipartisan streets? That's what we can be.
I came up with this first. It does seem like that is playing a bit of a role, right? Like this is your idea, so for the opposition, it's got to be wrong.
I mean, there's
If
so
this-
many patterns that people are upset how I handled this, but you can look back to I was putting up parking signs on Bleecker Street, and I get pushed back, and that's not the way you do it. Did you ask anybody? And it's like, yeah, they came to me. So that it's hard for me to separate the actual concerns people have and what's legitimate versus
Okay.
what I get pushed back on all the time anyway.
Fair enough. Stefan, can you take Stefan's call? Because he has a question.
Please.
He knows the streets like very few people. Stefan could work for the DPW. Maybe that'll be a good job for him. Down the road. Hello, Stefan. Good morning.
Well, hello, Bill.
Well, hello, Stefan. What's your question for
and
Katie?
hello, Katie.
Hey, Stefan.
Now, has anyone notified the city bus company Centro about this new traffic pattern? Because there are a few bus stops that they have to stop at downtown on Genesee Street that they may have to pick someone up at.
How do you incorporate the bus stops into this?
Great question, Stefan. Thank you. I believe they have been spoken to, and also buses will still have precedence to pull over. They also still have those open spaces. It's still illegal to park there. So that's definitely a priority, and thank you, Stefan, for that question.
All right. It looks like they're on it. Okay, Stefan?
Okay,
Can I
thank you.
just say how glad I am, though people didn't like that I said it this way, but I am glad for the engagement. I know this came soon, and it's news to a lot of people, and it's hard to navigate. But I wish every issue got this much attention.
You're right. And then maybe some issues that didn't get so much attention. There are some of those out there too. Looking at how much fighting occurred over the hospital. It would be nice if we could all just kind of.
Not everything has to be a civil war.
Correct, and I guess that's my point.
And if I can help prove that to people, I know
Yeah.
this city and area has been through a lot of traumatizing years, a lot of depressing years. So
Yeah.
I get it. People think maybe I'm like all the others in the past, but I'm here to listen. We're going to work things out. We are rooting the Stanley on. And every other business. I'm sorry for those who are finding out this way, but we're here for the trial. It's a trial. It's a trial, everybody.
And I do want to say the piece that you did, which magazine did, was it magazine or newspaper? Who did the
Business
piece on you?
Insider.
Business
Insider. I thought that was really, really well done. I read the whole thing, and you have become a great advocate for the city and for people like yourself to consider moving back or moving here to take advantage of what should be opportunity going forward.
I appreciate that. And I think this is the Complete Street comes up because it's another way our city can scale and get ready to retain people and attract more. So that's the goal.
All right.
One more. Complete
Please.
Streets. Where does it begin and where does it end?
Right now, it's going to be from Oriskany Street to Cottage Place.
All right.
And merge into there. So
Okay.
any more questions, katieforutica.com. You can email me.
And you have a video up there as well. that you put
KILO@cityofutica.com.
together.
And any other complaints, be sure that we're the first to know. So.
Next week, you're going to come back, and we're going to give out the rules that must be learned for those on the roundabouts.
We're going to have a
'cause
roundabout safety class.
We need to. Some people, it's like I swear there are just some people that get to the roundabout and stop. Like almost as if you're going into another world and just don't know. Should I creep in? Should
And now
I go?
we have two.
And there's
so
two
I don't
of
understand
them.
that.
Yeah,
We have
or
a lot of
if,
practice.
and don't go to Rome because there's a couple more out there. It should all be pretty easy, and roundabouts should probably make things safer. Not sure around here, though. 8:25. We have a lot more to get to before I get out of here. Hold tight. WIBX.
Herkimer County has its feet in the Mohawk Valley and head in the Adirondack Mountains. For a spectacular fall tour, drive north from West Winfield or Richfield Springs through the Mohawk River communities of Herkimer and Little Falls to Dolgeville and Middleville. You will see more and more colors on the country roads around Newport and Poland, topping off with Old Forge in the Adirondacks. New York's tallest county is built for your autumn tour. Herkimer County, I love New York.
Hi, this is Ed Welch for Vehicles for Vision, a vehicle donation program supporting the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Do you need to get rid of that tired old car, truck, or RV? Visit vehiclesforvision.org. You get a tax deduction, and all the money raised stays right here in Central New York, providing jobs and services for people who are blind or visually impaired. Visit vehiclesforvision.org for more information. The online process is easy and is no cost to you. Again, that's vehiclesforvision.org. That's vehiclesforvision, all one word, .org.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk, paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Ah, the sound of toys. Well, outdoor toys. Nothing beats a stressful week like hitting the lake, the open road, or a trail. When you do, make sure you're insured with Bonomo Insurance. They can cover all of your outdoor toys, so if something happens, you don't have to stress. Bonomo Insurance. Stop into 4541 Middle Settlement Road in New Hartford or call and talk today to Tom and his team at 315-736-1121.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Wayne says our problem with roundabouts here are just made too tight and too small. No room for errors. There is a little bit of an element of that, I think, that with the one in Utica and Oneida Square, right, where that one is they can't put a full plow through that.
Yeah, I guess that's the case.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like Utica's roundabouts. I think they're well
I'm
done.
not saying I don't like the roundabouts. I'm just saying
I'd write him a letter.
that one is that's so funny. That one is a little small. Here's Ray on the line right now. Ray, good. Hi, good morning, Ray.
Hi, Mr. Keeler.
Oh,
this is Ray's mom.
This is Ray's mom. Hello, Ray's mom.
This 85-year-old woman.
We've met before.
Went to the comedy show on a Saturday night, and it was great. I'd never been to one before, but it was well done. Your men that you had were just great. Everything was fine.
So you had a great time then?
Yes, I did, and you do a great job of putting things together.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Ray's mom.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day, and I'm so glad you came. Come to the show again, all right?
If you have another one again, I'll come.
We do it every weekend, believe it or not.
Do you?
Yes,
okay.
we do.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Ray's mom.
She's talking about she went with her son and I believe husband to Fat Cats Comedy Club on Saturday night. So that's very nice to hear. They had a blast. And I will say also, Ray was so happy that we were able to arrange everything for him that he gave me a trout. A big one, too. It's really, I'm very excited about it. So, all right. So, Richard, good morning. And Lynn Michelin, it's so good to see you.
You too.
How are you doing?
I'm hanging in. How about yourself?
We're all hanging in. That's the
Yeah.
best we can do, I think, right now these days. So,
This has made me reminisce about the first time I met you.
boy, it goes way back.
When you wanted to do a show like this in one of the storefronts.
Yes.
It was pre-1997.
Yeah, that goes way back.
Yep.
Wow.
And then we realized we shouldn't.
Yeah, we did. and I don't even know what was going on, but I almost agreed. It's like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. But it is what it is. And Richard, how are you doing?
Doing well. Good to be back here. Good to see you guys.
So we're rebranding Utica Monday Nights. Talk about this, which really, Lynn, this is your baby. This goes way
Well,
back.
it's basically, and I've been involved with the board and running the show for about 25 years. So the mural project that's on the Players is the my swan song. It's a concept I had. I'm on the board of Players, and it depicts the heyday of the theaters in downtown Utica.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as the rebranding is concerned, the next generation is in. They have some different focuses, and they're working on futuring in a way that's very different from what the work that we did.
Yeah, yeah. Richard, you're on the board, right? Is that?
I am secretary on
Nice.
the Utica Monday Night Board of Directors.
So what can we expect going forward? What's the vision moving forward?
Well, I'm not speaking of the vision moving forward.
Right.
Basically, what I'm here to hopefully promote is we are inviting everybody in the community to come and look at this incredible mural that was originated with the concept that I had, but then tied up with a fabulous artist. And it is a 30 by 50 mural on the side of Players Theater.
Okay.
And so tomorrow is basically the unveiling. If you
Okay.
can
All right.
unveil a mural
Right.
like that. Richard can speak to the future of Monday night.
Okay. So first of all, on the unveiling, this is something people should check out because it is, I assume, a piece of artwork that tells the story.
It's incredible. Maria Valise of Retro Sorrento. We worked on this actually for about 2.5 years conceptually, and then I saw her work, and we started researching some old marquees.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically did the design and the painting of this enormous thing. She'd get up in the bucket.
Wow.
It is extraordinary work, and it will be there for many, 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 many years.
30 feet by 50 feet, and it'll be unveiled tomorrow between 3 and 5:30. Is there a large celebration, a community gathering? Or
Well,
what?
basically, what we're hoping is that people see the work, people
Yeah.
acknowledge the 25 years of what we have done as the original board, and inviting people to come into the theater. Many people have never been to the Players Theater. During the COVID time, we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
an awful lot of work. And the lobby is new. We did improvements in the Black Box Theater. And so we want people to tour, to do a meet and greet with the artists, to have some cider and donuts, and just to kind of schmooze around what the goal of the little theater is.
All right, I love it.
The mayor will be there.
The mayor will be there.
Yeah, how about
wow.
that?
That's big. It's,
Well, it is.
He doesn't go anywhere.
I
I don't know if
know.
you.
He's making time.
It isn't out on the street when he's doing his little sweeps. The so that's and what is the future of Utica Monday Night, which is being rebranded, right?
Yes, as Utica Monday Night for the Arts, and kind of take it a little bit different direction. For the last 5-6 years, it's been pretty much aligned with the Levitt Amp concert series.
Yep.
So we want to really go beyond that and make it, that was basically a summer concert series, and we'd like to make art in the community go year-round.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are planning some additional things. We're going to start a podcast, actually, next year. And the big thing is the Artist Refinery Program, which is cultivating artists. They go through a sprint program through MVCC and Utica Monday Night.
Yeah.
And they learn all the fundamentals of starting a business in art. So it's a economic development initiative.
Okay.
So it's an 8-week program, and we've had 2 of those so far. So those are all young artists, budding artists that are going to be starting their own businesses and contributing to the economy. And that was part of the original model with Lynn, was bringing people to the downtown area for economic development on a Monday night. And they had 5,000 people at one time down there.
Boy, you were, and boy, as you had different locations around the city. It was, Lynn, it was your energy that that made this whole thing happen.
Yes, it was, but I had 35 to 50 volunteers every Monday night. The only people that got paid were the performers. So we had tons of volunteers, and they came almost every Monday night for the entire season. So the truth of the matter is it was arts, it's history and heritage that started the renaissance of the city, as you know, having been down there when there was no one in the city. So it was good use of the 15 years of the festival, for sure.
How do you feel, because I remember that was back during a time, goes way back, when you and I were both touting the city is in the midst of a transformation. I believe Tim Julian might have been mayor at the time, but it kind of fizzled, and it didn't seem to go anywhere. But without us realizing it was going somewhere, look at where we are now. How do you feel about that.
Like a proud mama.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly how I
yeah.
feel. And it's so fascinating. I mean, I was driving down to the post office on Seneca Street the other day, and I mean, I saw 3 huge towering. They must be taking things up at the hospital.
Yeah,
They're working
yeah.
on the parking garages. There's more people that are moving into the city for those bike lanes that we were
Right,
talking about
right.
a little bit. And it's a different time, but we still have an arts economy. We will always have an arts economy. You know, it's just it's harder to define that than it is when you go to the hockey game, for
Right,
example.
right.
But it was arts, history, and heritage, and it's still in the mix, and will forever be. So.
Yeah. Well, you had the vision back then, and it just in the middle we just thought, well, it didn't seem to work out, but I think that it was slowly moving forward,
All
and
the organizations
to where we are today.
that volunteered and set up programs,
Yeah.
they all increased their own attendance record by tenfold.
Right.
Every one of them.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, and now we have, people with a different outlook.
Yeah.
People want to learn.
Manaski.
I was just going to say, just to remind everybody, we're talking about the big mural that will be unveiled. It's at the Players Theater, which is right across from Tiny's there, right?
Yep, 1108, right.
State and Mandeville. A nice little theater there. It's a 30 by 50 mural. But I want to remind, to follow up on our last conversation, the mayor will be there. So if you go down, you can see the mural and you can tell the mayor what you think of his complete streets.
Okay. That would be a good time. That would be a time to give a little input. There's no doubt about it. And, these murals, it's very interesting when you look back on, there are still a few that are faded but still on buildings on Bleecker Street and some of the other streets. This used to be the way it was done.
Our first mural for Monday night was done in cooperation and partnership with the Landmark Society, and it's up over the Taylor and the Cook.
Oh, okay, right.
So when you come in from the north, you get to see
Yeah.
a mural about our history and heritage, and when you come in from the south, you get this newer experience.
Awesome.
So I feel really good about, bookending Monday night's 25 years.
Nice.
And let's keep going in between, because some of these brick buildings, that is a beautiful canvas for some of the artists we have.
Absolutely.
To spruce up these buildings, kind of.
Yep.
It looks so beautiful when it's done and it's fresh. It looks
Yeah.
great.
Well, Maria Valise is an incredible
Yeah.
artist, and so you get a chance to talk to her and see her whole process.
You can see this really
tomorrow.
up close too. A lot of murals you see from
Right.
from a distance, but you can walk right up and see the detail.
She said to me maybe about half a month ago, I'm going to light up the marquees. And I'm thinking, yeah, sure, And the next time I went, they looked lit up.
Yeah, that's really
That's
cool.
because she's really a fabulous artist.
Wow. Lynn, thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
We hope so, yes. See you there.
Very nice.
See you there. 3 to 5:30 tomorrow.
You remember, I wish I had a copy of your commercials where you would sing. Just come out and sing in the
Come
commercials.
on
So
downtown, yeah.
That's exactly it. Awesome.
The
And
Michelini
it worked.
sisters.
It worked, Bill. Thanks for your help.
It worked. Thank you. Richard, as always, thank you.
Pleasure.
All right. We'll break and come back 8:40 at WIBX.
I'm William Mattar. Big truck crashes often result in serious injuries or death. After a big truck crash, call William Mattar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. After a serious truck crash, call us right away so our immediate response team can preserve evidence while you focus on your family. Truck crash? Call William Mattar, 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hello?
Hello there. I'm calling from Ace Research with a survey about Kathy Hochul.
Wait, kids, go upstairs. Mommy might have to use adult language.
Oh, my. Well...
Okay, Kathy Hochul, who sits in Albany and refuses to fix New York's broken bail law. You know, the Liberals' little cashless bail, catch and release experiment?
Yes, that Kathy Hochul.
Want to talk about how New York has the highest taxes in the nation? How people are moving out? How even one of the newspapers admitted Hochul's budget stuck it to taxpayers?
Actually, that's not in my script.
Then how about Hochul and pay-to-play corruption?
Ma'am, can I just ask, are you voting for Hochul or Lee Zeldin?
You kidding? This state needs to hit the reset button. And that's Lee Zeldin for governor.
Paid for by Safe Together New York, Inc. This communication was not expressly authorized or requested by any candidate or by any candidate's political committees or any of its agents.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
We all like convenience, right? ATMs, takeout food, drive-through pharmacies. Now, Bremer's is making it just as convenient to enjoy your favorite wines and spirits with Bremer's to go. It's simple. Place your order at bremerswineandliquor.com or save $5 on your first order with our mobile app. Order before 5 p.m. for pickup the same day. Hey, you could even call us when you get to the store and we'll bring your order right out and load it in the car for you. Now that's convenience. Maybe you're planning a party. Maybe you want to stock up on your favorite wines. Or you just want to save time when you're out and about. Whatever the reason, at Bremer's, we're all about incredible customer service. So when you're on the go, we are too. Order at bremerswineandliquor.com or save $5 with our mobile app. Order before 5 p.m. for pickup the same day. It's Bremer's to go, available 7 days a week from Bremer's Wine and Liquor on Commercial Drive in New Hartford.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
That's what we do, John. We get them in here, we turn the volume up, scare the daylights out of them, and then catch them off guard. That's all part of the plan. John Zielinski is in studio running for Assembly and is running against Marianne Buttenshaw. And you have an issue with the Conservative Party. So tell us, are you holding a press conference today?
I don't think it's his issue.
It's not my issue. I'm just reporting. I'm holding a press conference today at 10 a.m. at 188 Main Street, New York Mills, at which time I'll have a press handout.
So you didn't file the grievance?
No.
Okay. No. But you were not a member of the Conservative Party?
No.
Okay.
But here's what happened. The Oneida County Conservative Party Committee has been dissolved following a criminal investigation by Special District Attorney Michael Daly of Herkimer County. Mr. Daly was appointed a Special District Attorney by Oneida County Supervising Court Judge Michael Dwyer after Oneida County District Attorney Scott McNamara recused himself from the investigation.
Why did he recuse? Just because he knew people involved?
Well, I think he sought the nomination before, probably, right?
I'm not sure why he did, but he did. I believe in the past he may have been endorsed by the Oneida County Conservative Party.
Okay.
But I can't attest to that.
So what is the issue here? What is the criminal investigation? I mean, by the way, how have you learned about all of this if you're not a member of the Conservative Party?
Well, because I was made aware that the criminal complaint was filed by a member of the Conservative Party, an attorney, M. Julie Miller, alleging improprieties in the gathering of signatures for formation of the committee for 2022 to 2024. You may recall that we had a primary June 28th. Mm-hmm. And as part of the primary process in New York State, the various parties pick their committee members then. You have to get so many signatures based on your residence, your district and ward and such. And the Oneida County Conservative Party executive committee in particular, who was running the operation to gather these signatures, as I said, was charged with criminal improprieties in a complaint by Conservative Party member M. Julie Miller, who filed the complaint with Oneida County District Attorney Scott McNamara, who recused himself. And then, as I said, Judge Michael Dwyer appointed Michael Daly, who's a former Herkimer County District Attorney and a former Supreme Court judge, as a special district attorney to investigate the allegations.
And that is going on as we speak, or is it
done.
over?
It's done. Mr. Daly submitted his report to Judge Dwyer approximately 2 weeks ago.
Have you seen the report?
No, the report, I spoke with Judge Dwyer, and he just gave me, the outline that I've just given you. This is how I know. And he said that the report contents have been sealed and that no further action is being taken. Now, my interest in this...
That was my next question.
Yeah, my interest in this is the fact that because of the redistricting that Mary Ann Buttonshaw voted for, the 119th Assembly District is now entirely within the boundaries of Oneida County.
Correct.
Okay. And she has a personal relationship with the city chair, or former city chair of the Conservative Party,
Brooks.
Russell Brooks.
Okay.
And they endorsed Mary Ann Buttonshaw on the conservative line for Assembly, and also they endorsed Sheriff Maciel on the conservative line. Both of them, as you know, are Democrats. However, that was done under the aegis of the 2020-2022 organization of the Conservative Party. So there's no means. I spoke with Judge Dwyer about this. He gave me some advice. Since that committee was not challenged, the formation of that committee was not challenged, therefore their endorsements stand. And
so is it wrong for them to endorse two Democrats?
Well, according to the state chairman, it is, yes.
Okay.
in the past.
Should they have endorsed you? Is that what you're...
Yes.
But
yeah, I mean,
are you
if they're true, if they're true, I'm not an enrolled Conservative Party member.
Okay.
But my principles and beliefs as a moderate Republican are much more closely aligned with Conservative Party principles than the Democrats, especially in New York State, under the leadership of Speaker Hastie from New York.
Where does the alleged criminality come in?
It came in the fact that it was alleged that they deliberately did not get signatures properly. I'm not going to use words that are going to get me in trouble, but it's in the gathering of the signatures for the committee posts.
Do you believe that the signatures were forged?
I have no knowledge of that.
Okay.
I know that there were allegations that raised it to a criminal complaint. I emphasize that. This was a criminal complaint that the judge saw fit to appoint Mike Daly to investigate.
Have you spoken to Mike Daly?
I have.
What did you learn from Mike Daly?
Just what I told you. You know, he's under the same regulations as the judge. He told me he did the investigation. He told me that he turned it over to Judge Dwyer, and that's all he was allowed to say.
All right.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what's interesting now is what, no disrespect to the judge, but
Judge Dwyer.
if the Judge Dwyer, but if the media were to inquire, maybe you can get some more answers. I mean, why would a criminal complaint be sealed
right,
when it deals with a very public matter, i.e. an election?
And your involvement is merely because you felt you should have been endorsed.
Exactly, but the point is it was the same people who were charged, that endorsed my opponent. And that just doesn't smell right.
How do you know that?
Because it was the committee. The executive committee.
The same.
It was right.
Are there specific members that have been charged? Is it Chief Brooks? Is it?
I can't say. But Julie Miller could tell you. I mean, I'm not sure if
When you say can't, you can't say. Do you know but can't say?
I have an idea, but I can't say because I'm not going to stick my neck out and make wild allegations against individuals.
What are you going to say at this press conference? And what is the benefit of the press conference?
I want the people to know that, as far as I'm concerned, the conservative endorsement of Marianne Buttonshaw and Rob Maciel should be by them when they vote considered illegitimate.
That's interesting. I think going forward, I mean, essentially what this means, John's focus is, and I understand, is probably going to be the endorsements of Buttonshaw and Maciel. But going forward, there will not be a conservative candidate from our area.
Right now there is no committee from what I've been told. But if I could, though, if
I can answer your question, if you let me, Bill.
Okay.
What has happened is
you don't know what my question was going to be. But go
I'm guessing the state Conservative Party has temporarily assumed all the responsibilities of the former Oneida County Conservative Party Committee. And the Oneida County Conservatives will again have the opportunity to reorganize and constitute a county committee.
Okay. My question is, though, that if we went through the process, now there may be an opportunity for us to foil this, although a sealed document is not eligible for FOIL.
Correct.
Just for the record. But, so, if I'm correct, I want to understand this. An allegation was made. So a criminal allegation was made, which is an allegation. It was then went to the district attorney in Oneida County, who said, for whatever reason, he needed to recuse himself. And that may be something as simple as he had previously been endorsed by the Conservative Party. So it then was given to a special investigator, Mike Daly, who investigated, turned his report over to Judge Dwyer. Judge Dwyer, based on the investigation provided to him, determined that he must have determined that there was nothing criminal, and he sealed the document.
And the committee dissolved.
And the committee dissolved. Where is the so basically Judge Dwyer has said I believe that there is no wrongdoing?
I think that what they decided to do, and again, I think the proverbial quid pro quo, you all resign and nothing goes any further.
But
Otherwise, if they did nothing wrong, resign.
But again, you're asking questions that you don't know the answer to. You're making an assumption.
I am making an educated.
Did someone tell you this was what happened?
It's what happened. It is what happened.
Okay, so someone must have told you that's what happened. So you're basically blowing the whistle on the Conservative Party here.
I am blowing the whistle on the former executive committee of the Oneida County Conservative Party.
Okay.
The state commissioner thinks that you should have been endorsed?
Yes.
And he said that?
Yes.
That's interesting.
But he has no power because of the boundary change.
Is the state okay with you holding a press conference and blowing the whistle?
I don't know.
Did they tell you anything?
I've been told by one person that I'm blowing up the bridges behind me and also in front of me.
So someone has told you not to come forward with a press
but it wasn't
conference.
anybody from the state committee.
Okay. All right.
It was just somebody.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I think
there's a lot of somebody's
incredibly interesting,
and you're being very vague with names and
I have to
with
be.
accusations.
I have to be. I know that it was a criminal investigation. I know that as a result of the criminal investigation, the Oneida County Conservative Party Committee was dissolved, and operations are now being performed by the state Conservative Party Committee, and the county committee will have a chance to reorganize.
Is this all over the fact that they endorsed a Democrat? Or is this all over the fact that somebody fudged signatures or
it's about the signatures.
Okay. Yeah. See, the more times I ask you, the more information I'm getting.
He said that, but you're steering clear of using the words like fraud or forged.
Well, he just said they fudged the signatures.
No, you said that he fudged the signatures.
But he agreed with it.
He said it's about signatures.
It's about signatures.
Yeah, he's avoiding the lawsuits
Let me go back and ask again, because I want to go back on the tape.
Maybe what you can foil is the complaint.
That
And that names names.
True. And who says I don't already have it?
I hope you do. Tell me. Tell me who they charge.
So all I'm saying is at the end of this whole process, Judge Dwyer made a decision that it was not warranted for whatever reason to move forward, and we're most likely not going to be able to get that.
But he didn't move forward.
And you're saying
the
that
same fact is that they agreed to resign.
And that is what you've been told.
I believe that is the proverbial quid pro quo.
You believe or you know? Earlier you said you know that's true.
I know it's true.
Okay. See what I'm saying, Jeff? There's, in one hand, he's saying, I believe, and the next hand, he's saying, I know it's true.
But I can't.
I understand. I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around this.
You know, both Mike Daly and Judge Dwyer gave me as much as they could give me.
Okay.
And what I know, you know.
Are you going to say anything different at the press conference today, or is it all basically...
It's essentially going to be the same.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home and finish my press release handout,
Okay.
it's the same.
All right. What time is the press conference?
10 o'clock.
All right.
188 Main Street, New York Mills.
Is that at the headquarters, the Republican headquarters there?
It's my headquarters.
Oh, it's yours.
Yeah.
I apologize. I just thought some other candidates were there.
You know why I say that?
Okay.
Because Oneida County Republican Committee does not have a headquarters. This was space donated to me graciously by Walt and Kim Morrissey.
Okay.
And we have information there for
You're
soon to be Governor Zeldin, we hope. Brandon Williams for Congress, Mary Finnegan for County Clerk, myself for Assembly, and independent candidate Jim Scarchilli for Sheriff, as well as the various judge candidates. We also have their handouts there,
Okay. Interesting. So we'll wait to see if anything different comes out of the press conference. And I appreciate...
I'll email you the handout.
Please do.
Yep.
You don't think it's impossible, do you, for the Conservative Party to endorse a Democrat, or do you?
Unless they've got a wacky Republican candidate, I don't see why they would.
Well, Mary Ann would say they do.
Yeah, of course you would.
I just thought I'd throw that in there. So.
Of course, yeah.
I appreciate
well,
you
as long
coming
as
in
you
this
brought
morning.
up Mary Ann, you know, there was some mailing that went out. She said that I was playing at being a politician, and I really am proud to have heard that. You know why? I don't want to be a politician.
Yeah.
I want to represent the people of the 119th District in Albany. Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate, John, your time here this morning. Good luck at your press conference, and we will continue to cover this story that is mysterious, very mysterious at least, at the very least.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay. All right, that's it for us. Christine has news top of the hour. We have, we have Fox News top of the hour coming up here, and we'll be back in studio tomorrow morning on WIBX.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Road, W295DI Utica Road, your news, talk, and sports leader, the Town Square Media Station.
He's ready to admit his guilt. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A 16-year-old accused of shooting up his school, Oxford High in Michigan last year, Ethan Crumbley, is standing in court right now before a judge.
You understand that you will be pleading guilty to count 1, terrorism causing death. That is a felony where you face up to life without parole or a minimum sentence of 25 to 40 years and a maximum sentence of at least 60 years.
And the judge went on to read all the other counts Crumbley's charged with, including 4 for murder for the 4 students killed that day. There's a trial going on in New York starting today, a case against the Trump Organization, not the former president himself, his business accused of tax fraud. Its chief financial officer, Ellen Weisselberg, already pleaded guilty and will testify against the company.
This case is separate from one out of the state attorney general's office that alleges the former president overestimated the value of his assets, and is also separate from the Justice Department case regarding the keeping of classified documents at his home in Florida.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. There's a new report card out on students showing COVID's effect on learning with a record drop in math scores.
The National Assessment of Educational Progress, or the nation's report card, was last administered in 2019, and that test was taken again this spring. It showed that in the time between, 8th grade math scores dropped by a staggering 8